A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Juvenile Bureau. A rash of crimes has broken out in your city. Suspicion points to an organized gang of juveniles. Your job, stop them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. It's the long cigarette that contains an essential ingredient of all the very popular cigarettes, Turkish tobacco. That's why you see the Turkish symbols on the attractive gold and yellow Fatima package. That's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima doubles and redoubles its smokers. Yes, if you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, March 27th. It was windy in Los Angeles. We were working a night watch out of Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, Chief of Detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way up from the Juvenile Bureau, and it was 11:25 p.m. when I got to the receiving hospital, room 5, the treatment room.
Everything happens on Sunday nights, huh, Joe?
Yeah. How's the kid making out, Doc?
One arm is cut up badly. Nothing fatal, though. How'd it happen?
That's what I'd like to find out. Can I talk to him?
If you want. Don't press him, though. He's had a bad shock.
All right.
Officer here to talk to you, son.
I can't. Tell him I can't talk, please.
Just a few routine questions, son. We're going to have to answer them sooner or later.
Please, can't you see what's happened already? I can't tell you anything.
Jack Monroe, is that your real name?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'll be 16 next July.
Where do you live?
I can't tell you. You know that. Now, let me alone, will you? Let me alone.
You've been running around with that gang of kids on Spring Street, haven't you? The big timers, isn't that what they call themselves?
I don't know anything about it. Believe me, I can't talk.
You tipped us off about the burglary they were going to pull tonight. Is that where they knifed you?
Look, will you believe me? I can't tell you anything. Not anything, please.
He's still shaky, Joe.
All right, Doc. Well, Jack, we'll talk about it later when you feel better.
You see what they've done to me already? They said next time they'd kill me.
Juvenile Bureau, Friday. Yeah, okay, friend. Goodbye.
How'd you make out, Joe?
Not very good, Ben. Captain Bowling come in yet?
You checked in while you were gone. Wants to see us.
Okay.
The kid tell you who knifed him?
No, I scared him good. He wouldn't tell me a thing.
You get a line on the boy's parents, Friday?
I got a hold of his father. He's on his way in.
How's the boy?
Bad knife wounds. Nothing fatal.
You know the boy?
Not till this afternoon, Captain. He tipped us off about a burglary a gang of young kids were supposed to pull tonight.
Did it go through?
No, but 2 hours ago, this Monroe kid was found in a vacant lot down on Olympic, cut up pretty bad. The gang must have pegged him.
How long is it going to take you to break that up?
Well, we're just starting to get a line on him, Bob. Must be nearly 100 in that gang.
And every one of them working hard. Take a look at the pin map over here. This spot here, look at it.
All the jobs pulled during the last month, huh?
The last 5 weeks up to date. Red tabs for burglary, must be more than 100. The robberies, green pens, count them, at least 50. And there's 5 more orange ones I added for the weekend, auto thefts. You bet those kids are working hard.
We got a lead on them. That's more than we had last week.
You have to push it harder. Here's the big reason. This line of pins, brown and black.
Purse snatchings.
Purse snatching and rape, 26 of them in the past 5 weeks.
They're pretty well concentrated in one area here.
That's right. Now, what's the lead you're working on?
Right there on the pin map, Captain.
Huh?
Well, these 2 blocks here, Bob, where Franco Alley intersects Spring Street.
Well, what about it?
Well, it's the only clear area for a dozen blocks around. There's not a colored pin on it, you see?
Yeah.
Now, all the rest of the pins, the robberies, burglaries, attacks, they all seem to branch out from this same spot right here in definite patterns, Franco Alley and Spring Street.
You figure that's the focal point for the gang?
Well, it's got all the mark.
For instance?
Well, we've been checking that neighborhood for a week. We got it narrowed down to one place, right on the corner of Franco and Spring.
What is it?
It's a soda fountain. It's pretty typical. Only it stays open all night, and it gets a pretty good play from kids.
A regular hangout, Captain. Pretty tough youngsters. None of them over 18.
Who runs the place?
A guy named Eddie Ramsey, small-time con man. Had a run-in with him when we worked bunco detail.
I remember the name.
Smart mouth. Tried to give us trouble when we talked to some kids in there last night. He's got a place set up for him in the back of the store, kind of a club room.
It sounds like a good lead. What are you doing about it?
Well,
just a minute. Captain Bowley. Yeah? Who? Yeah, we'll be right down. The Monroe kid, his father's downstairs, cursing every one of us.
What's his problem?
Can't understand how his boy got into trouble.
Come on, Ben, let's tell him.
What kind of a city do we have when we can't allow our children out on the street without being stabbed or shot? What's our great police force doing when this is going on? I'd like an answer if you got one. I demand an answer.
We got an answer for you, Mr. Monroe. Will you sit down?
My boy's lying in there in that hospital bed, cut to pieces. What did you do to prevent it? Tell me.
You tell us, Mr. Monroe. What'd you do to prevent it?
I'm no cop. That's your job. I pay my taxes and I help pay your salary.
We look out for your kids, but we don't raise them. That's
What are
your
you talking
job.
about?
Just a minute, Mr. Monroe. Answer me this. How old is your son, Jack?
He's 16, I think. Why?
You know what he does with his spare time? Where he spends his nights?
Of course I do. He's at home. Some nights he goes to the library.
Then you don't know much about your son, Mr. Monroe. For the past month, 4 nights out of 5, he's been hanging around with a gang down at a soda fountain on Spring Street. He's down there as late as 2 a.m.
He says he goes to the library. How do I know? I'm a busy man.
Did you know that your son is mixed up with that gang?
He's not mixed up with a gang.
A bunch of small-time thieves, but they're growing. They started with purse snatching, breaking in parked cars, burglarizing candy stores.
You don't know what you're talking
Wait a
about.
minute, please. Then they took up robbery, stealing cars, beating up girls, women, attacking them.
You're crazy. Jack's not that kind.
He's part of that gang, and right now we hold all of them responsible.
My boy wouldn't do anything like that.
He's a member of that gang, he told us. They're the ones that knifed him tonight.
That's a lie. Jack's not mixed up with anything like that.
You believe anything you want, Mr. Monroe. We're going to protect your boy as much as we can, but don't expect us to raise him for you. Now, you better take a free piece of advice.
You keep your advice. Jack's not in this. You can't prove he is.
We're not out to prove anything right now. But you catch up with that boy of yours. Keep him off the streets before it's too late.
Are you threatening me?
No, sir, advising you. Next time we might meet at the morgue. 1 a.m. Monday, March 28th. A detail of 50 officers from Juvenile Bureau and Metropolitan Division were deployed for 16 blocks along Figueroa Street. At 5 minutes past 1, they started to move south over an appointed area. In the space of half an hour, 18 young kids, none of them over 17 years old, were picked up off the streets and brought to the second floor at 1335 Georgia Street, the Juvenile Bureau. 4 of the youngsters were girls. At 1:45 a.m., Ben and I checked the soda fountain on the corner of Franco Alley and Spring Street.
Same bunch, Joe. Business as usual.
Yeah, come on.
Hey, Teddy, the Bulls. They're back again. Same guys. Go back and tell Eddie. Hey, look, why do you guys have to keep tracking us, huh? You think we were crooks or something?
You were here the last time we checked in, Teddy. You ever go home?
Sure, when I'm tired. I ain't tired. What's the matter?
That's your money on the table there?
Sure, it's my money. You want to borrow a buck?
$28. That's a lot of money for a boy your age.
You keep pretty late hours, son. You have to go to school in the morning?
Maybe. I can sit here, can't I? It's free country. I'm drinking coffee. You gonna make me on that?
You've been drinking more than coffee. Where's your driver's license?
Every time the same thing. There.
March 10th, 1933, 16 years old.
They giving you trouble, Ted? Eddie's on his way out.
What's your name?
Jones. Clyde Jones. What's that? Sure. He's got money, too. Rich family.
You can save the smart talk, boys. Any of your pals in the back room?
What's the trouble now, Sergeant? How many times a week do we get a checkup?
Go ahead, Eddie. Read them off.
We told you the last time, Ramsey. Clean up your place here or we'll ride you back till you do.
I told you the last time, Sergeant, there's nothing wrong with my place.
It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. You got a dozen underage kids hanging around here doing nothing. Some of them have been drinking. Schoolboys.
Better to have them in here than hanging around outside in the street. I keep an eye on them.
You're not the guardian, Ramsey. This time of night, they've got no business in here or on the street alone.
That's your opinion, huh?
That's the law, Ramsey. Now, either you shut down that back room and keep these kids out of here late at night, or we'll go after your license.
You don't scare me, Sergeant. You can't prove a thing.
A couple of these kids have juvenile records. They're on probation. We can tag you for contributing.
You still don't scare me. Now, why don't you leave the kids alone?
That's right, Eddie. Read them off.
Ben, get Benson and Bell.
Roger.
If you won't clean up your place, Ramsey, we'll do it for you.
Yeah? What are you going to do?
We're pulling these boys in, all of them. 2:25 a.m. Monday, March 28th. The Dragnet operation had netted 30 juveniles, 26 boys, 4 girls. 24 of the children were between the ages of 16 and 17. They were lodged in the assembly room at the Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau. The other half dozen were 13 and 15-year-olds. They were taken to the juvenile hall at 1369 Henry Street. At 2:43 a.m., we met with Captain Bowling.
Oh, checked in. 30 of them.
All right, in the morning we filed petitions to have every one of these cases brought to the attention of the juvenile court. Make a note of it.
Okay, Bob.
For the kids with records, ask for detention from the probation department.
Right. We'll call their parents in the morning.
Call them now. They've got some explaining to do.
By 6 a.m., all but 3 of the children's parents had shown up. To most of them, it was nothing new. Their kids had been there before. They'd be there again. They took the lecture from the juvenile officers calmly. As long as it didn't mean trouble for them, they wouldn't worry. When they got their children home, they would reprimand them, not for running the streets, but for being picked up by the police. Ben and I had seen the cycle of the young criminals start before, 100 times over. It had a lot of different endings, most of them sour. During the next week that followed, we booked an average of a dozen juvenile delinquents every night. The clampdown continued, so did the crime wave.
10 burglaries, 4 robberies, 8 car thefts, 6 purse snatchings, 3 assaults on women. 1 week's work.
Picked up a new angle on Ramsey today, Captain. He might be fencing for the game.
Who gave you the tip-off?
One of our informants. Ramsey's brother lives out in the valley. He's supposed to be pushing this stuff.
You check him out?
Yeah, couldn't get a thing on him.
Well, it might explain what attracts the kids to that soda fountain.
It explains those $20 bills the kids are flashing. They steal and rob, and then they sell the loot to Ramsey for nothing.
And another thing. Ramsey keeps his place open all night, and there's no reason to. He doesn't get that much trade. It's only from the young gang that hangs around there.
You question the kids. How do they account for having all that money?
Well, most of them say Ramsey lends it to them. They say they pay him back a little at a time. I think he's fencing for the kids.
You tried to get his license?
No luck, Captain. We can't prove a thing against him.
Then we'll do it the hard way. Sweat it out.
That night, we drove out to Ramsey's soda fountain and asked him again to clean up his place, to keep the young kids out after 10 o'clock at night, to stop lending them money. He refused. There was nothing we could do. His business was a public place. He could not be held responsible for any of his patrons. In the next 10 days that followed, Ben and I haunted the sidewalk outside the soda fountain. We questioned every youngster as they entered and left. We made more than a dozen arrests. Many of the kids had been drinking heavily. We found some of them under the influence of narcotics. But Ramsey was still in the clear. The crime wave continued sporadically. Ben and I waited for our chance. It was a long time coming. Thursday, April 14th, we had dinner at Johnny Cokin's place, and it was 10:35 p.m. when we checked back in at the office.
Hot shot. Grab it, Joe.
Yeah.
The terminal on Market Street, a 459 and shooting. The terminal on Market Street, a 459.
Let's go. He was approximately 5 feet 4 inches tall, 125 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, slight build, fair complexion. He was wearing blue jeans and a corduroy jacket. We found him between a row of packing cases at the rear of the warehouse at Terminal and Market Streets. There was a single bullet hole in his forehead just above the left eye. There was a .38 revolver near his right hand. The watchman told us how it happened.
He broke in the back of the warehouse, Sergeant. He wanted to shoot it out with me.
Here's his ID card. Fell out of his pocket.
Teddy Cameron, age 15.
Dear God. A kid. I didn't know, Sergeant.
He didn't either. He thought he was grown up.
are listening to Dragnet for the solution to an actual case from official police files. Now, here's the solution to many of your Christmas shopping problems.
If your friends smoke a long cigarette, give the best of long cigarettes.
Give Fatima, and all is well. Fatima.
The long cigarette that contains an essential ingredient of all the very popular cigarettes, Turkish tobacco.
Give Fatima, and all is well. Fatima.
The cigarette that has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Give Fatima, and all is well. Fatima.
The cigarette that has doubled and redoubled in popularity. Here are the authentic reports. New York Division.
Fatima sales up 132%.
Chicago Division.
Fatima sales up 453%.
Los Angeles Division.
Fatima sales up 545%.
More and more smokers agree Fatima is the best of long cigarettes. So enjoy Fatima yourself and give Fatima for Christmas in the attractive golden yellow carton. Everyone who smokes Fatima says that this great new long cigarette is the best of all long cigarettes.
Los Angeles Police Department, Form 311, Dead Body Report. Type, gunshot. DR number 437695. Victim, Theodore Cameron. Residence address, 960 Charter Street. Date and time of death, Thursday, April 14th, 10:35 p.m. Place, Terminal and Market Streets, South State Warehouse. Cause of death, gunshot. Motive or reason, attempted burglary. Time discovered, 10:40 p.m. Removed to County Morgue. Discovered by Carl Hyben, night watchman. Identified by Barbara Cameron, sister. Description of victim, male, Caucasian, age 15, height, weight, so occupation, student, descent, English, was a witness, signed Joe Friday, serial number 2288, age 15.
Ready, Joe? The Cameron boy's sister. She's waiting in the next room.
Yeah, let's go. She taking it hard?
Yeah.
Morning, Miss Cameron.
Good morning.
We won't keep you long. Just a few routine questions.
Yes, all right.
Miss Cameron, how many are there in your family?
There were 3 of us. Teddy, Mike, and me. Mother and father are dead. I work. Teddy and Mike go to school. Mike does.
How old is your brother Mike, Miss Cameron?
He's 14.
You're the sole support of your 2 brothers?
Yes.
Do you have any idea who the boys were your brother Ted used to run around with?
I don't know them by name. I remember seeing a couple of them once or twice. Mike would know, I think. He and Ted were pretty close, brothers.
Do you know if Ted mixed with a gang of kids down on Spring Street?
Maybe Mike would know that. Sergeant Teddy wasn't a bad boy. He wasn't a bum. None of us are. I tried to raise the boys like Ma told me. It wasn't easy. We made out.
Yes, I understand, Miss Cameron.
My salary didn't have too much, but we got by.
Yeah.
I figured on getting married. I'm 31. It'd be good for the boy, especially Teddy. He's dead, isn't he? Yeah. I couldn't be in 2 places at once. Hold a job and watch the kids. But That's why I thought maybe a husband.
I'm sorry to press, Miss Cameron. Do you think your brother Mike can tell us about that Spring Street gang?
No, Mike would know.
Where can we find him?
Staying at a friend's house. I got the address in my bag. Here. That's 2514. I don't write numbers too well.
Thank you, Miss Cameron. You've been very helpful.
I'll get somebody to drive you home.
Or do I have to go? Would it be all right if I just sit here for a while?
That's all right.
I'm tired. Real tired.
2514 West Serrano Street. That was the address Barbara Cameron had given us. It was the home of Mr. and Mrs. Jean Brewer, high school friends of the dead boy's sister. We talked to Mike Cameron. He told us that his brother Teddy had been running around with a gang down on Spring Street. He identified Ramsey Soda Fountain as the hangout. It was 2:25 p.m. when we got back to Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau.
I got it. Juvenile Bureau, Romero. Yeah, hold on, I'll call him. You, Joe.
Thanks. Friday.
Joe, this is Canfield in burglary.
Yeah, Homer.
You're working that Cameron case, aren't you?
Yeah?
I just got a report on one you might be interested in, out of the same neighborhood. Distillery prowl.
What do you got on it?
Looks like a juvenile M.O. They got away with 7 cases of Scotch whiskey. Expensive stuff.
Okay, we'll hop on it.
Bubeck Warehouse, Crocker at 7th.
Miss Elizabeth Rice was the auditor in charge at the Bubeck Warehouse. We located her on the mezzanine office row. It was her job to keep a running inventory on all incoming and outgoing liquor stock. She knew her job well.
As you know, Sergeant Friday, each and every bottle of distilled spirits carries a United States Internal Revenue stamp.
Yes, ma'am.
Each stamp carries a serial number together with the name of the firm to whom the stamps are issued.
Well, Miss Rice, in the stuff that's missing, the stamp on each bottle carries the case number. Is that right?
That's right. Now, what did I tell you? Oh, yes, I have it right here. 7 cases of high-grade blended Scotch whiskey. Now, I have a bottle identical to those in the missing cases.
Yes, I see.
Now, if you'll just look here.
Yes, ma'am.
The number on this stamp here, 368-227-9956, followed by the firm name.
Could you give us the numbers of the stolen cases?
Now, I have them typed out for you right here. 7 cases, 12 bottles to the case, Canada Dry Incorporated, 4 of the red label and 3 of the black label, Johnny Walker.
All right, thank you very much, Miss Rice.
And you think that this might be a juvenile case, Sergeant?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
7 cases, that's close to $600, isn't it?
We've lost a great deal more than that, Sergeant. The insurance company makes up for the liquor loss.
Yes, ma'am.
Those youngsters, who makes up for them?
Ben and I left the Bubeck Warehouse with a list of serial numbers of the 7 cases of stolen liquor. We headed back for the Juvenile Bureau. We figured that there was a strong possibility that the Spring Street gang was responsible for the warehouse liquor theft. How were they disposing of the stolen property? That was the key question we had to answer. Ben and I had a hunch and a tip from an informant that the young gang was operating under the guidance of a fence, a man or woman whose job it is to dispose of stolen property. The gang members were close to Ramsey at the soda fountain. Ramsey was the logical suspect.
All right, now suppose they did steal the liquor. Suppose Ramsey's a fence. What's he done with the stuff?
I don't think he's turned it this fast, if he's turned it at all.
He wouldn't keep it at the soda fountain, no liquor license. And we've been around too much.
He wouldn't keep it in his house. He lives in the rear of the fountain. It's too hot.
Only leaves one other location that we know about.
His brother's place in the valley. It was 5 minutes to 10 when we turned left off Ventura Boulevard onto Sepulveda. Ramsey's brother had a small farm about a mile and a half off the highway. It was a modest white frame house planted squarely in the center of an acre of ground. An unpaved driveway led off to the left of the house to the garage. Pull up here, huh?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it looks kind of quiet, no lights.
Let's go.
Mud sticks to everything.
Now, where's the doorbell? Oh, here it is. You got your flashlight?
Yeah, what?
Here's a note somebody left.
Oh, it's on the bum again. Here, I'll strike a match.
Okay. Can you hold it a little closer?
Can you read it?
Yeah. Harry, wife and I have gone to the drive-in theater. Before you put the truck away, get 3... Can you hold that match closer?
Oh, no, wait a minute.
Yeah. Get 3 cases out of the garage and take them into town. Ed is waiting. Please try to make it by 11:30 tonight. Let's see. It's signed George. The address is here.
And there's a garage.
Yeah, come on.
3 cases. Could be eggs, Joe.
If it is, we wasted a trip.
Oh, I'm out of matches, Joe.
All right, here, use mine. What was that?
Checking.
Come on.
See anything?
No.
There goes the light. Just a minute. I'll strike another one.
You can save your matches. We found it. We found 5 cases of Scotch whiskey on the floor of the garage. We checked the serial numbers against the warehouse list. They matched. We went back to the car and called communications. We had an immediate stakeout placed on George Ramsey's place, and then we headed back for the city. It was 11:20 p.m. when we got to the address we found on the note.
Oh, it's about time, Harry.
Hello, Ramsey. We can do without the music.
What's your problem this time?
Hey, you're almost out of Scotch, Ramsey. Serial numbers check out, Joe.
Sorry I can't offer you a drink.
We're too old to drink here, aren't we, Ramsey?
Where's your phone?
You want to invite somebody? You can see we're out of booze.
You got a phone?
In the hall.
Ben, call the office.
Yeah.
All right, what's it all about?
We've been out to your brother's place. What happened to the other 2 cases? You drink them here?
I gave it to the kids. What are you looking at me like that for, Sergeant?
Anything wrong, Eddie?
Party's over, kid.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 5th, 1949, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 74, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Earlier tonight, you heard the reports of amazing increases in Fatima smokers from New York to Los Angeles. Yes, all over the country, Fatima is doubling and redoubling its sales. And here's reason 1.
Fatima is the long cigarette that contains an essential ingredient of all the very popular cigarettes, Turkish tobacco.
Reason 2.
Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Reason 3.
To millions of smokers, the name Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality. Smoke Fatima, the best of all long cigarettes.
Edward and George Ramsey were tried and convicted in Superior Court of receiving stolen property. After serving their terms as prescribed by law in the state penitentiary, they will be returned to the county jail where they will serve a 1-year term for contributing to the delinquency of minors. You have just heard Dragnet, a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Acting Chief of Police, W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Honoring the city of Greenwich, state of Connecticut, and the men who make up the Greenwich Police Department, another of America's great law enforcement agencies. One of these men, Chief John M. Gleason, FBI National Police Academy graduate, who dedicates his life to making yours more secure.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. This Christmas, give the gift that makes every pipe smoker happy. A Christmas humidor of mellow Granger. Granger is made just for pipes by the tried and true Wellman method. Rough cut to smoke mild and cool, and humidor packed to stay ever fresh. Yes, make this Christmas a Merry Christmas for all the pipe smokers on your list. Give them each a Christmas humidor of mellow Granger.
Listen to Dragnet next week and be sure to hear Morton Downey tonight on NBC. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. $8,000 worth of Chinese jade has been stolen. The criminal is vicious. His weapon, a handful of buckshot in a handkerchief. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima is doubling and redoubling its smokers. So, if you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, December 1st. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 7:15 p.m. when we got to the police academy, the banquet room.
Where do we sit, Joe?
And Lee Jones is holding a couple seats for us someplace. You see him?
Oh, yeah. There he is up there.
Well, look at him. Everybody's here.
Yeah, ought to be.
Hi, fellas. A couple of ringside seats.
Thanks, Lee.
Did you get it?
Yeah, right here.
Mind if I take a look at it?
No, go ahead.
How come it didn't get wrapped as a gift?
No time.
A gift box would have been nice. No cotton, even? Beautiful watch. Radium dial?
Yeah.
Universal Geneva. A fine movement. He'll like it.
Look on the back.
Let's see. For Chief Ed Backstrand, a good cop, Detective Bureau. Not very good engraving.
No time.
I didn't think the old man really meant it.
26 years. You get tired after 26 years.
You've been at it 25, Lee.
Oh, don't look at me like that. I got a book to finish. 23 chapters.
How many chapters you got, Fanny?
2.
How long you been writing it?
2 years.
Well, at that rate, we'll be stuck with you for another 21 years.
If you're lucky. Excuse me, fellas. Gotta make a speak.
All right, Lee.
To get the proceedings underway here, before we introduce the man of the hour, I'd like to pass along a little story you might get a kick out of. I was driving down from Utah last year, stopped off at a hotel in Elko, Nevada. When I went up to register for my room, there was an Indian ahead of me. The clerk asked this Indian fella to sign his name, and the clerk handed him a pen. The Indian made a X on the book. The clerk looked at him for a minute and said, "Say, aren't you Chief Deerskin? Haven't I seen you in the movies?" The Indian nodded his head and looked a little upset. "Oh," he said. "Oh, we make a lot of movies in Hollywood." The clerk smiled and said, "A lot of people in Elko here like to get your autograph, Chief." Then the Indian grabbed the pen up again and he said, "Me no like a autograph, hunters. Me no want to be bothered." Then he drew a circle around the axe he made. The clerk said, "Why you do that, Chief?" The Indian said, "Me no use him right name."
Oh, hey, Joe. Yeah, there's Rogers over there. He's motioning to
Where? Oh, yeah, excuse me a minute, Ben.
The Chief who's retiring tonight. He's been using his right name for 26 years, and he's proud of it. And we're proud to have been associated.
You want me, Rogers? I phoned for you, Joe. You can take it on the extension
After
outside.
26
Thanks, Pete.
years of service, he's retiring from the Los Angeles Police Department. We're going to miss him. Gentlemen, a fine officer, Chief Ed Backstrand.
Where's the phone?
Right over here.
Thanks. Friday.
Joe, this is Gonzalez.
Yeah, Jess.
Sorry to bother you, but Powers said I should call you.
Yeah?
I need some lip work.
Something big?
Pretty big, yeah. Too many loose ends. Pena and I can't pull them all in.
When do you want us?
As soon as you can get down here.
That important, huh?
A man may die, Joe.
Hi, Jess. Got here as soon as we could.
Sorry to pull you away. Hello, Romero.
Gonzalez, what's up?
Come on in here.
All right.
Here's a report. Not complete yet. Chinese fella. Name's George Quan. He's a jeweler, gem cutter.
Yeah.
Jade expert. Knows as much about jade as anybody on the coast.
Uh-huh. Says it happened at 5:30 today on Alvarado near the park.
They weren't kidding, were they?
They almost killed him.
Yeah. Any idea what the weapon was, Jess?
I'm not sure. Looks like some sort of blackjack, something homemade.
Yeah.
When they picked up Quan, they found several buckshot pellets lying around and a man's handkerchief. Ray Pinker has the stuff over at the crime lab now.
Where's Quan? Have you talked to him?
Got in a couple of questions down at Georgia Street while the doc was giving him sedatives. Little guy's a mess, Joe.
Gonna be all right?
50-50 chance when I called you out of the academy.
Well, why did they beat him? Did he resist?
I don't have it all yet, but from what he said, he was jumped from behind, didn't have a chance to fight. Whoever it was kept beating him long after he was unconscious.
What'd they take him for?
A couple of pieces of jade, large ones. Very rare.
Mm-hmm. You got anything else?
Yeah, we got a star witness, just one.
Did you talk to him yet?
Just did, for an hour and a half. You want to crack at it?
Are you having trouble with him?
Yeah, little. All right, Pena. Send him in again.
Yes, sir. You want to talk some more?
6 years old, Joe.
His name was Norman Eugene Fisher, and he was 6 years of age last April. Like all young boys his age, his imagination ran away with him. What would be only a minor detail to an adult witness assumed tremendous proportion to Norman's young mind. He told us his story 3 times. Each time he elaborated a little more until what he claimed was the truth could only have been figments of a small child's imagination. Ben and I, together with Gonzalez and Pena, talked with the boy for another hour. We were getting tired, but Norman enjoyed his position as star witness.
Once more, Norman, please, try to remember it as it really happened.
It was just like I said.
Let me try, Jess.
Go ahead, Romero.
You did see it happen this afternoon, didn't you, Norman?
Yes, sir, I did.
Good. Now, you were on your way home from the store.
Oh, no, sir. I was running away from a man. He was chasing me.
But you just told us, Norman, that you were on your way home from the store.
Oh, no, sir. That was yesterday.
But you told us.
Just a minute, Ben. Norman, how old are you?
Next year I'm going to be 21.
No, that's not right. 21, that's older than I am.
Well, when I am 21, I'm going to get a hot rod. Fastest car in the world. 10,000 miles an hour.
Sure you will, but how old are you now?
6, but I'm going to be 21 soon.
I remember when I was 6 years old, Norman. A lot of things I wanted. Electric train.
I got one.
Well, it must be something you'd like to have. One thing that maybe now that you don't have, huh?
Will you give it to me?
Well, if I can. What do you want?
I'd like your gun.
Well, what do you want a gun for?
I want to put people in jail like you guys do.
Sometimes it takes more than a gun, Norman.
What do you mean?
Just because you've got a gun doesn't mean you're a cop.
Well, what does?
Just a minute, son. Here you go, Norman. A good cop uses this more than a gun.
Gee.
It's a real police badge. It's mine.
Official?
Official.
Can I hold it?
Go ahead. It's yours.
When I wear this, I'm a real detective.
Well, that's part of it. The other part is to tell us what you really saw today. Now, how about it, huh?
There were 4 men, like I said, and they all had machines.
No, wait a minute, Norman. I thought you said you were a detective now.
I am.
Well, a good detective has to remember exactly what he sees, not something he makes up.
It's not very scary that way.
That's no use, Joe. He can't get his story straight.
Oh, yes, I can. I'm a detective now, and I know what happened.
All right, Norman, you tell us, huh?
I was on my way home from the store. I saw this truck stop down the street.
What did the truck look like?
I don't know. It was a funny kind of truck. Had a wood back.
You mean like a dump truck?
Kind of, but it was a small truck. Old kind of car, like he took out the back part and put wood boards like a truck.
You mean whoever owned the truck cut the back end out and made it look like a truck, huh?
Yeah, that's the way it looked. Anyway, this truck stopped by this Chinese man, and the man got out, and the man started to hit this man. And the man fell on the sidewalk, and the man kept hitting him and hitting him as hard as anything.
Well, what was he hitting him with?
With his handkerchief?
There he goes again.
No, I don't know. How about that, Jess?
Could tie in.
Go on, Norman.
Well, that's all I saw.
No, I mean after the man hit him, what'd he do?
Oh, well, he grabbed a bunch of stuff from this man's pocket, and he went into the truck and he speeded away.
Norman, you're a good detective. I want you to think real hard now. Do you know what a license number is?
Yeah.
Good. Do you think you could remember the numbers on that truck?
If I knew what they were, I could. In school, we're just having numbers now. I only know up to 7, but there were 2 7s in it.
You're getting all this, Jess?
Yeah, keep going.
Norman, you've helped us a lot. Can you remember what the man on the truck looked like?
He had a big head and he looked mean.
All right, just one more thing now. Can you remember the color of that truck?
It looked black, but the back part had black and white stripes.
I don't know how you did it, Joe.
Well, what do you think?
How about it? Me too.
All right, Norman. Your mother's waiting outside for you. You can go home now. You're a real detective.
Can I wear my badge now?
You bet you can.
Okay. Say.
Yes, sir?
As soon as I arrest somebody, will you put him in jail?
With the help of an outdated police badge, no longer official, we had the statement of a 6-year-old boy with a healthy imagination. We had an idea he was telling us the truth, but we had no way of being certain. Since he was the only witness, we had to accept his word and hope that he was putting us on the right track. The quickest way to make sure was to see if some of the details in little Norman Fisher's story would check out. Jess Gonzalez and Manuel Pena took the job of trying to locate a homemade pickup truck with 2 7s in the license number. They started by checking all the late 3.8 forms, the vehicle theft and impound reports. The next morning, Ben and I called the General Hospital and talked with Dr. Sebastian. He told us that the victim, George Quan, had improved sufficiently to allow a brief interview. It was 10:14 a.m. when we got to Ward C, General Hospital.
Doctor tells you you're a little better this morning, Mr. Quan.
Yes, sir. I shall be all right, although it is quite painful at times.
We're sorry to bother you, Mr. Quan, but we've got to have a little more information on the robbery.
I will tell you all I can, sir. I should like to recover the missing jade pieces. It is a great loss to me.
Did you get any kind of a look at the man who hit you?
Oh, he attacked me from behind, knocked me to the pavement. I made an attempt to get to my feet, but he struck me again and again, here at the base of my neck.
You didn't see him at all, then?
No, sir, I did not.
Do you have any idea who could have done this?
Unfortunately, no. I cannot think of anyone.
What was stolen from you? We know it was jade, but can you give us a more detailed description?
Well, sir, I lost 2 thumb rings, very rare, collector's items.
Thumb rings? How much were they worth, would you say?
Well, I paid $8,000 for the 2 rings.
I wonder if you could describe them to us.
Well, both rings were relics of the time when the Chinese archer drew his hunting bow with a special thumb ring.
Any particular identifying marks on them?
They both have linings of fine gold to fit them to the fingers of the new owners.
Who were the new owners?
I had just purchased them yesterday, before I was robbed. I was on my way to San Francisco to show them to prospective buyers.
Who did you buy the rings from, Mr. Quan?
Mrs. Inez Curtis, a very reputable dealer. We have done business for many years.
I wonder if we could have her business address, huh?
She has her office at her home. It is 1957 Harper Annex off Sunset Boulevard in Beverly Hills.
How many people knew that you had the jade on you at that particular time yesterday?
Oh, let me see. There were only 2 other buyers present beside Mrs. Curtis. I do not recall their names. They were new to me. Mrs. Curtis would know.
Mr. Quan, we know that you're tired. We have just one more question.
Certainly. I wonder if I might trouble you to hand me that tumbler of water with a glass straw.
Surely. Here you are.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now, those thumb rings, Mr. Quan, would there be any practical disposition of them other than selling them as they are?
Well, hardly, Sergeant. To anyone who really knows the value of jade, it would be unheard of to change them in any way.
I see. Well, thank you, Mr. Quan. We'll do our best.
You know, Sergeant, we Chinese place a great sentimental value on our jade.
We'll do everything we can to recover it.
Thank you. May I tell you my favorite quotation on jade?
Yes, sir.
It is from the writings of Tang Jung-tso. He wrote, "The magic powers of heaven and earth always combine to form perfect result. So the pure essences of hill and water become solidified in precious jade."
Ben and I drove out to 1957 Harper Annex, the residence of Mrs. Inez Curtis. There was no one at home. We left one of our cars. It was 12:22 p.m. when we got back to Central Division.
Here's a phone message for you, Joe.
What's it say?
Call Jess Gonzalez. He's out to Wilshire Division.
Okay, thanks, Ben.
Detective Stadium.
Hi, Harry. Gonzalez around?
Just a minute. Take on 3, Jess.
Gonzalez,
Friday, Jess.
we got the truck and we got the driver.
We'll be right out.
Something else, Joe.
Yeah?
The kid was right. There were 2 7s in the license number.
You are listening to Dragnet for the solution to an actual case from official police files. Now, here is a real solution to many of your Christmas shopping problems.
If your friends smoke a long cigarette, give the best of long cigarettes, Fatima.
Give Fatima for quality.
The name Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality.
Give Fatima for flavor.
Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Give Fatima. They're extra mild.
Yes, Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos blended to make Fatima extra mild. Yes, extra mild.
So give Fatima for Christmas in the attractive golden yellow carton.
It's the long cigarette that has doubled and redoubled its smokers. More and more smokers every day agree Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Wilbur Rasmussen, white, male American, age 31, 5 feet 10 inches, 190 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. He was the driver of the truck. Gonzalez and Pena began by checking through all of the reports of trucks impounded during the past 24 hours. There were 23. Out of those 23, they narrowed it down to 4 possibilities. The third vehicle that they checked fitted the young witness's description of the holdup truck. We still could not be absolutely certain that the impounded truck was the one we were looking for. The same could be said of the driver, Wilbur Rasmussen. The net result of checking impound reports doesn't always result in the apprehension of a suspect, but in this case we were lucky. The driver had been picked up for drunk driving. It was 1:30 p.m. when we checked in at the Wilshire Division.
Hi, Jess. Where is he? You're a little late. What do you mean? He's gone, released on bail.
Who furnished the bail?
The woman he works for, Mrs. Inez Curtis.
Well, that doesn't figure, Jess, or does it?
Why not? How many people knew Quan had the jade?
That's not my guess. Quan vouches for her. He's been doing business with her for years.
What do you think, Joe?
It's your show. I'm just tagging along.
Well, one thing's sure. Just a minute. Wilshire Detectives, Gonzalez. Oh, yeah, Pena. He did? No, meet me back here. Friday and Romero are here. Right. The Fisher kid just identified Rasmussen's picture.
The identification of Wilbur Rasmussen by 6-year-old Norman Fisher was far from sufficient to take the case to court. We had to have evidence, lots of it. Rasmussen had been given a thorough shakedown, his apartment and the truck. There was no sign of the stolen jade rings. Gonzalez told us that the truck had come from the U-Drive truck rental on Figueroa Street. We checked with Mr. Crockett at U-Drive.
Let me have another look at that picture, boys.
Yeah, here you are.
What'd you say his name was?
Rasmussen. Wilbur Rasmussen.
You want to know if he rented a truck from Miss Wynn?
Yesterday, maybe the day before.
No, not this fella. Never seen him.
Before we left U-Drive, we checked over the rental contract on the truck in question. The deposit check for the truck was signed by Mrs. Inez Curtis. The truck was checked out at 6 a.m. The rental contract, the actual release form showing to whom the vehicle had been rented, was signed by a Harry Wilson. Rasmussen's name did not appear on any of the usual rental forms. The manager of U-Drive was positive that he had not rented a truck to Rasmussen. We drove out to 1957 Harper Annex. This time we found Mrs. Inez Curtis at home.
I'm terribly sorry about Mr. Quan. Does he have everything he needs in the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
How long did you say this Harry Wilson had been working for you?
6 or 8 weeks. But I'm sure you're wrong about him.
We're not accusing him of anything, Miss Curtis. We just want to talk to him.
He certainly came to me well recommended. He was a nice man.
When's the last time you saw him?
Day before yesterday. He asked for his check, said he was quitting. Told him I was sorry to see him go. I'm anxious to get that guest house finished.
How about Rasmussen, Miss Curtis? How long has he been with you?
Wilbur's been with me for about 7 months. Good worker, but he drinks too much. Feel sorry for him.
You've rented trucks from the U-Drive company right along?
Oh, yes, from Mr. Crockett. We had to have a truck to haul our building supplies. I'm saving an awful lot of money contracting this myself. It's a great saving.
Yes, ma'am. The deposit on this last rental, did you give that check to Wilson or to Rasmussen?
I sent both of them down to pick it up. Like I say, Wilbur's been drinking rather heavily lately, and I think Harry's the better driver of the two.
Do you know which one of those men was driving the truck about 5:30 in the afternoon, day before yesterday?
How would I know that, Sergeant? All I know is that I sent both of them down. I told Harry to drive.
Yeah, I see. Miss Curtis, were either of those men present the day you sold the jade rings to Mr. Quan?
No, they have nothing to do with my gym business, whatever.
Did either of these men know about Mr. Quan's purchase?
Well, that's possible. They knew he was here. I'm sure they saw him come in. It's entirely possible that they might have overheard something.
When did Mr. Quan leave your house?
About 5 o'clock.
What time did the two men go after the truck?
Oh, they picked that up early in the morning.
Mr. Crockett down at U-Drive says that only Harry Wilson checked out the truck. Says he's never seen Rasmussen before.
That's entirely possible. Like I say, they might well have made other arrangements.
Were there any other people present when Mr. Quan bought that jade?
Yes, there were. 2 other buyers. They were bidding for the thumb rings, too. Mr. Quan had the high bid, so I sold them to him.
Wonder if we could have their names.
Certainly, I'll write them down for you.
Miss Curtis, do you have any idea where we might locate Harry Wilson?
Well, he told me he was going to Mexico. Said he had friends down there.
Well, thank you, Miss Curtis. You've been very helpful.
Are you sure there isn't anything Mr. Quan needs?
Yes, ma'am. 2 jade rings. Mrs. Inez Curtis gave us a detailed description of Harry Wilson. She also gave us the names and addresses of the 2 other buyers who were present when Mr. George Quan made his purchase. We checked them out and found them to be equally as reputable as Mrs. Curtis. They could tell us nothing of the robbery. We went back to the office and got out an APB and a radiogram on Harry Wilson from the description given us by Mrs. Curtis. Stakeouts were maintained at Wilbur Rasmussen's apartment and at the home of Mrs. Inez Curtis. It was 4:30 p.m. when we got to the second floor of the old city jail building, the crime lab. Lee Jones had the evidence laid out for us.
Funny thing about the handkerchief, boys.
What's that, Lee?
The blood stains. Old ones along with the new ones.
How does that figure?
We know how the new ones were made when the handkerchief was filled with buckshot and used on Quan. The old ones, hard to tell.
How old would you say they were?
Well, the handkerchief has been through the laundry a few times. Stains didn't come out. Laundry marks right here.
I don't see them.
Man used peerless laundry. Infrared marking system. Let me show you.
Infrared lamp, Lee?
Yeah. There's your marking. Can you trace it down?
Who's it belong to?
Man used the name of Harry Wilson.
There was nothing to do now but wait for some word on Harry Wilson. The stakeouts continued. We re-questioned Wilbur Rasmussen, and we talked again with Mrs. Curtis and George Quan. It was Tuesday, December the 8th. We checked in for work at 8 a.m. Morning, Jess.
Hi, Joe. Where's Ben?
Communications, getting the mail.
Any word on the new chief of detectives?
No, nothing.
What's your guess?
Oh, I think Thad Brown. A good man.
Maybe. Sloan's a good man, too.
When you come in here?
Not yet. Why?
Maybe you'd like to take a little airplane trip.
What do you got?
Cheyenne, Wyoming. They picked up Harry Wilson.
2 days later, Thursday, December the 10th, Harry Wilson was returned to the Los Angeles County Jail and booked on suspicion of robbery. We checked with Lieutenant Frank Cunningham in the Record Bureau. From Wilson's fingerprints, he ran a make on him. Harry Wilson was an alias. We found out that he had lengthy records of arrests and jail terms for robbery, burglary, and grand larceny. Mr. Crockett at U-Drive identified Wilson's picture. He was a 2-time loser.
It's up to you, Wilson. It can go hard for you or easy.
I'm in the spot, huh?
You're in the spot. Lay it out for him, Jess.
It's all stacked against you, Wilson. We know you rented the truck. You knew Quan was at Mrs. Curtis' house. Your handkerchief was found at the scene of the crime.
You wouldn't believe me if I said I didn't do it?
With that kind of evidence, how can we?
I didn't. I don't know if I can prove it, but I didn't.
If you didn't, we'll help you prove it.
First, you gotta believe me. You know why.
Yeah?
I've had it twice. Once more, and I'm in for life.
All right, you got it figured. Now what do you got to say?
Rasmussen did it. He knocked Quan over.
Where were you?
Buying my ticket for Cheyenne. I didn't want any part of it.
How do you account for that handkerchief?
It was mine, but Rasmussen had it. He cut his finger one day in the job. I loaned it to him.
Well, that checks. Old blood stains, new ones.
All right, let's pick up Rasmussen.
While you're at it, pick up the Curtis dame. She planned it.
Wilbur Rasmussen was picked up and brought in. After intense cross-questioning, we confronted him with Harry Wilson's statement. In the face of this testimony, he broke completely. He gave us a full confession implicating Mrs. Inez Curtis. He admitted beating George Quan and taking the jade thumb rings. He said he received $200 from Mrs. Curtis for the job. He requested that he be allowed to turn state's evidence. Mrs. Inez Curtis was brought to the interrogation room.
Of course, you gentlemen have proof to substantiate all these accusations.
Yes, ma'am, we have.
It better be good. I have a fine lawyer.
We've got signed and recorded confessions of Wilson and Rasmussen, the two men who worked for you.
Shall we play the recording for you?
That won't be necessary.
Miss Curtis, you got $8,000 for those rings. Wasn't that enough?
Not when I could make 16, no.
Where are the rings now?
I'm not going to get life for this, you know.
No.
Jade doesn't spoil. It'll still be good when I get out.
Yeah, but you'll be too old to appreciate it, Miss Curtis. Okay, Penny.
That was a funny one.
Sure was.
How about it? Did you figure it this way, Joe?
You don't expect me to answer that, do you?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 2nd, 1949, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 82, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here are authentic reports from all over the country that tell the story of Fatima's sensational increase in popularity. New York Division.
Fatima sales up 132%.
Chicago Division.
Fatima sales up 453%.
Los Angeles Division.
Fatima sales up 545%.
Yes, more and more smokers agree Fatima is the best of long cigarettes. So enjoy Fatima yourself and give extra-mild Fatimas for Christmas in the attractive golden yellow carton. Everyone who smokes Fatima says that this great new long cigarette is the best of all long cigarettes.
Mrs. Inez Curtis was tried and convicted of robbery and conspiracy. She received the maximum sentence as prescribed by law. In consideration for turning state's evidence, Wilbur Rasmussen received a minimum term. You have just heard Dragnet, a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Acting Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet honors the city of Knoxville, state of Tennessee, and the men who make up the Knoxville Police Department, another of America's great law enforcement agencies. One of these men, Sergeant Joe H. Roberts, director of the Knoxville City School Safety Patrols, who dedicates his life to making yours more secure.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portion transcribed from Los Angeles. Let that merry tune remind you to get him the big Christmas humidor of smooth, sure-fresh velvet pipe and cigarette tobacco. It's a double pleasure to any smoker when you give this generous humidor of velvet. It smokes cool and sweet in both pipe and cigarette. In every way, the gift for him is a Christmas humidor of velvet, America's smoothest smoke.
Be sure to listen to Dragnet next week. Your tune for the stars on NBC. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A young woman has been murdered. The body was discovered behind locked doors. The assassin is still at large. Your job, find him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima is doubling and redoubling its smokers. So, if you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, January 9th. It was stormy in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero, and my name's Friday. I was on the way to work, and it was 6:45 a.m. when I got to the steps of the City Hall, the Main Street entrance.
Hey, Joe, wait up.
Morning, Ben.
When did they call you?
5 a.m. Donahoe called you?
Yeah. Miserable out, isn't it?
Pretty wet. My feet are soaking wet.
See the transfer there?
Yeah.
New chief of detectives?
Wait a minute, I want to get some gum. Pack of spearmint. Yeah, I heard about the new chief. Thad Brown. Good man. Fish gum?
Thanks. I wish I'd make up some minds about our shift. Work days, they call you back nights. Work nights, they call you back days.
Why don't you put in for a desk job?
You never have to call you back. You're here all the time.
You're just hard to please. Here we are. Keep what you said, Quan. Thanks, Egan.
That's a great way to start off as your new chief. Call you back on a rotten morning like this.
I'm glad you got the job, Thad.
Yeah, congratulations, Chief.
It's hard to follow a man like Ed Backstrand. Gonna need your help.
You got it.
Here's why I called you back. Laura Barclay. The dead body report, nightclub entertainer. Landlady found the body an hour ago.
Who's covering?
Burton and Anderson, they're out there now.
Strangled, huh?
Well, the lamp cord. Still trying to figure out how the guy got in the house. Doors and windows all locked.
Yeah. Attacked. That the motive?
For now, yeah. I just came from there. I think there's more.
Any reason?
Her room wasn't prowled.
Yeah?
Just a hunch. Play it for me.
Ben and I left Thad Brown's office, picked up Lieutenant Lee Jones at the crime lab, and drove to the West Adams district, number 16 Imperial Place, where the body of Laura Barclay had been found. It was an ornate frame structure done in Victorian style, at least 30 to 40 years old. Number 16 was on the ground floor. We went in. A narrow hallway led to the bedroom in the rear of the house. 2 gas jet fixtures, which had been converted to electricity, were the only illumination.
This place has seen better days.
Anybody else coming out, Lee?
I see flash bulbs down there. They must be here already.
Lieutenant, Friday, down this way.
Hi, Burton.
Hi. We're tired of discovering the body position. Peterson's dusting for prints.
Fred, shoot a couple of overheads. Don't make them all angle shots. Get up high, then move in close. The chief was right. Room's in pretty good order.
Did you talk to anybody, Burton?
Landlady lives upstairs. Only 2 people living in the building.
Mm-hmm. Did she tell you anything?
Said the Barclay girl paid her rent on time. Good tenant. Plays the organ at the Blue Fox. Cocktail line.
Any idea how the murderer got in here?
Not yet. Every door and window in the place is locked.
Anything else?
That's it so far. We'll give you 15.7 on what we got.
Okay, Lloyd. You and Anderson have another detail?
Yeah, working on that Westwood thing. 2 uniform men outside if you want anything.
Right, thanks.
Looks like a tough one, Joe. Whoever did it must have come in through the keyhole. I'll see you later.
So long, Lloyd.
Andy. Peterson's dusting for prints. Nothing yet. Only piece of physical evidence so far, the lamp cord she was strangled with. I'll run it through downtown.
Not a sign of a struggle. Maybe she wanted to die.
Check the bathroom, will you, Ben?
Yeah.
I'll look around the kitchen.
Hey, Pete, have you dusted the lamps yet?
Not this one. I'm going to see it.
Ben, come here a minute, will you? Ben.
Yeah?
Come in the kitchen, will you? You got a pencil?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here you are.
Okay. Take a look at this garbage chute here.
Let me see.
About 8 feet to the ground.
Yeah, big enough for a man to get through.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no problem.
Lee.
I'll be right there.
It could be the answer, Joe.
Well, he either got in this way or he was in the house when she came home.
What do you got?
Garbage chute here. What do you think?
Could be. Let me grab a kit. That Let's see. Aluminum powder. There it is. No. No, nothing on the outside of the lid. Looked pretty clean. Must have just been scrubbed. Abrasions here. Got a pencil?
Yeah, here, I'll get it.
Hold it up there, will you?
Yeah,
Yeah, here we go. Large prints. Unusually large. Big hands.
Can I look inside the chute a minute, Lee?
Go ahead. Watch that lid.
Yeah, I will.
Looks like it's blocked off upstairs.
This thing hasn't been used for garbage for some time.
Most of them were condemned a few years back. I'll get Fred to shoot these. Let's go in the living room.
That desk been dusted, Lee?
Yeah, it's clean. Go ahead.
Take a look, Joe.
Yeah, photographs.
Hundreds of them. All men.
Yeah, all different. Lee Jones and the crime lab crew finished up and went back to Central Division. 2 uniformed officers remained on duty at the scene of the crime. Thad Brown had men sent out to canvass the neighborhood. Ben and I went upstairs and talked with the landlady, a Mrs. Emma Smith.
Yes?
Police officers. You Miss Smith?
Yes. You're not the same officers I talked with before.
No, ma'am. I wonder if we could ask you a few questions.
I told the other officers everything I knew.
We have to double-check, Miss Smith. Who was the girl who lived in the apartment below, number 16?
Laura Barkley.
Is that the name she used? The mail she received, was it addressed that way?
Yes, it was. Oh, she was a very good tenant, Laura. No trouble with her at all.
When did she move here?
Oh, about 4 or 5 years ago. I have the rent receipts. I always save receipts.
Did she always live by herself?
Oh, yes. That apartment rents to one person only.
Did she have many visitors, friends dropping in?
None that I ever saw. Pretty much to herself, Laura. The men came yesterday and took it away.
What's that, ma'am?
The organ. Electric one. Laura rented it from a big downtown firm. Used to practice all the time. My, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
In the gloaming. She used to play that for me.
Mrs. Smith, when did the men come and take the organ away?
Yesterday, in the afternoon, about 4:30.
Was Miss Barkley at home when they came?
No, she wasn't. She left me a note to let them in, so I let them in. I never allow anyone in the apartment without a note.
You know the name of the company where she rented the organ?
Brazier's, it was called, down on South Spring.
Well, didn't you think it was unusual that Miss Barkley didn't have any friends?
Now, officer, I didn't say Laura didn't have any friends. What I said was that she didn't have any friends who came to see her here. She moved here from a hotel for women. That's the reference she gave me.
I see. I wonder if you could give us the address of that hotel, please.
I'll write it down for you.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, did you hear any unusual sounds in Miss Barkley's flat last night? Anything out of the ordinary?
If I had, I would have called the police and we'd have saved a girl's life.
Well, thank you very much, Miss Smith. Here's her card. If there's anything you think of after we've gone, don't hesitate to call us.
Thank you, I will. I hope you get the dirty men who killed Laura.
We didn't say it was men, Miss Smith.
Well, isn't it always a man?
Before we left Mrs. Emma Smith, we asked her about the garbage chute. She said it had not been in use for the last 4 years. We showed her the stack of photos. She could identify none of them. We drove back to Central Division. We checked Brazier's music store. The 2 men who moved the organ were checked out and cleared. We went to the Wynn Hotel for young ladies. They could tell us nothing. Laura Barkley's references were all good. We went back to the office and met with Chief of Detectives Thad Brown.
You think he got in through the garbage chute?
That's the way it looks, Chief.
Went all over the apartment. If there's another way, we haven't found it.
All right, you know how he got in. Who is he?
We got out an APB on his M.O. Latent fingerprints are making a run on those prints we found.
I got an idea about these pictures here. Most of them theatrical stills, show people. Frank Latour and his canine circus. To Laura, all my love, Frank. Tell you what you do. Here's a guy I checked with this morning.
Bernard Carubian, theatrical booking agent, huh?
Yeah, Barney's office is down in the Orpheum building, 8th and Hill. He booked her into the Blue Fox. See what he can tell you.
Right. I'll grab the pictures, Ben, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you got more than you started with.
Yeah, those fingerprints.
We get a make on him, we'll be close to the guy.
So was the Barclay girl. But he got away.
I wonder if we could see Mr. Carubian.
Who's calling, please?
Sergeant Romero and Sergeant Friday, police officers.
Oh, one moment, please.
Yeah, please.
2 police officers to see you, Mr. Carubian. Sergeant Friday and Sergeant Romero, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Send him in.
Go right in.
Thank you.
All right, let's go.
When them rosy wheels bust through the snow, I'll be coming home on furlough again. When them General Sherman tanks are covered with ice, I'll be home for good, and won't that be nuts? No. This guy's stuff is cornbread. Sit down, fellas.
Thank you.
Can I help you?
I understand that you booked Laura Barclay.
Yeah, that's right. I spoke with her. Got his name right here.
Chief Thad Brown?
Yeah, that's right. He asked me about Laura. Too bad about that. Any clues?
We're working on it, Mr. Carubian.
What makes a person pull a stunt like that? Laura didn't have no enemies.
She had one.
Well, I don't know much about her, except I've been booking her for about 4 years. Good organist. Pretty fair voice, too.
Got some pictures here. I wonder if you could take a look at them.
Yeah, sure. Quite a stack. Yeah, old Frankie Latour and them dogs. Great act. I book 'em. Ricky Rogan, King of the Tap. Gus Orinoco and that singing seal of his. Yeah, I know all these people. I book 'em all.
Did Laura Barclay work with all these people?
One time or another, yeah. During the war, USO camp shows, you know.
Do you know whether she was close to any of them?
Well, come to think of it, she was. That Frankie Latour, crazy about them dogs of his.
No, I mean the men themselves. Anybody that she seemed particularly interested in?
Never heard her mention anybody. Pretty girl.
Did you know her very well, Mr. Groovy?
Only when she came in and out of town on an engagement. I'm a married man.
Well, then you don't think there's anything to these pictures here of hers, huh?
I wouldn't say so. When you're on the road, you always collect photos of the people you work with. Souvenirs.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Carubian. Here's our card.
You betcha. I sure hope you catch the guy. Wonder why he picked on Laura.
Sometimes they don't have a reason. When we left Bernard Carubian's office, we checked by the Blue Fox Cocktail Lounge. It was still early. The sign said open 5 p.m. It was 3:15. We went to the morgue in the basement of the Hall of Justice and looked at the coroner's report. The autopsy report stated that the cause of death for Laura Barclay was strangulation. We went to the second floor of the old city jail building, the crime lab.
Nothing on the lamp cord. Standard UL 110 line. About anywhere. No prints.
How about the chute, Lee?
Went back there and rechecked. You were right. The guy got in through the garbage chute. Found more of the same prints along with some cloth impressions in the dust.
Tell you anything?
The guy was wearing some kind of tweed, Donegal, 15 to the inch.
How about the size of a man, Lee? How big could he be to clear that chute?
It had a 20-inch diameter. Almost any man could squeeze through that. Checked the ground level of the chute. Cement, no footprints.
You don't have too much for it.
I got one thing for you.
What's that?
I think I found your motive. And not the one listed on the report.
Yeah?
Here are the blow-ups of the body. This 36 by 54 here. Hold that in, will you, Ben?
No, Al.
Look through this magnifying glass here. The right hand.
Yeah.
See where I'm pointing?
Ring finger, yeah. Looked like ring marks.
That's right. Pretty wide. Must have been good-sized rings.
Well, they might still be in that room.
I called Thad Brown. He had the room rechecked. No sign.
And you think we got a burglary motive on our hands?
That's my guess. Thad had the boys check with the landlady. She didn't know anything about any rings the Barclay girl might have had.
That doesn't help.
I think I got something else here.
Library book. Hers?
There are cards in one of the pockets inside, checked out from the L.A. Public Library main branch. I think these might be your lead on the missing rings. A librarian sees a person's hands every time they check out a book.
That makes sense, Lee. We'll play it that way.
What department were the books checked out of?
The music room. Well, that's it. I think you've got your motive now and a good set of prints. You're close.
Thanks a lot, Lee. Well, let's go to the library, Ben. I'll get it. Crime lab. No, this is Friday. Oh. Thanks, Frank. Well, we got some motive.
How do you mean?
No make on those fingerprints. Nothing.
You are listening to Dragnet for the solution to an actual case from official police files. Now, here is a real solution to many of your Christmas shopping problems.
If your friends smoke a long cigarette, give the best of all long cigarettes, Fatima.
Give Fatima for quality.
The name Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality.
Give Fatima for flavor.
Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Give Fatima. They're extra mild.
Yes, Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. Yes, extra mild.
So give Fatima for Christmas in the attractive golden yellow carton.
It's the long cigarette that has doubled and redoubled its smokers. Yes, more and more smokers every day agree Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
4:30 p.m. Tuesday, January 9th. Heavy rain. Laura Barclay's murderer was still a free man. Ben and I were sure that whoever left their fingerprints on the inside of that garbage chute was the same man who murdered the Barclay girl. He had no previous record. His first crime, as far as we knew, was a killing, and the odds were all in his favor. The fingerprints gave us nothing. All we had left to lead us to the killer were 3 library books and a stack of old theatrical photos. The solution of most crimes for the working detective is method and persistence. When you have clues, you work with them. When you don't, you work your way to a logical conclusion as best you can. We went to the Los Angeles Public Library, the main branch. The librarians in the music room handle thousands of readers every week. None of them remembered Laura Barclay. We drove over to the Blue Fox Cocktail Lounge. We interviewed the manager, and he knew nothing of her personal life. We talked to Harry Schumann, the organist who had taken Laura Barclay's place.
What would you like to hear, fellas? Police officers. Like to talk to you, man. Oh, about Laura, huh? That's right. All right, if I keep on playing? The manager wants full 15-minute sets.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. That's all right.
What can I tell you?
How long have you known Miss Barclay?
Oh, 4 or 5 years. It's a terrible thing. You got to get to whoever did it.
Yeah, we're going to try. Can you think of anybody that might have killed her?
I know you ask that question of everybody. I don't know. Does anybody ever know for sure? Sometimes. Well, I don't know. When you think of a person, you never think who might murder him.
Maybe you might know a few things about her that you could fill us in on.
I'll try.
She go in for jewelry much? Rings, things like that?
Funny you should ask that. She was nuts for it. Good things.
Rings?
Had a couple of beauties. Diamonds they were, big stones. Cost $4,000. I know she used to put most of her money into those rings.
She'd buy them on time?
Yeah. I remember one night she was overjoyed. The night she paid them off. Cost a lot of dough.
Can you describe those rings for us?
Not too good. I can give you the name of the jeweler she bought them from.
That'll do. Do you know anybody else that we might talk to?
Don't know any of her friends. She was an only child. No living relatives that I know of. How about her landlady?
Yeah. I guess that's it, Harry. Thank you.
For what? I wish I could help more.
If everybody had your attitude, we'd be out of a job. Before we left the Blue Fox, Harry Schumann gave us the address of Laura Barclay's jeweler. The next morning, we checked with the manager of the store, and he gave us a complete description of the 2 diamond rings which the dead girl had purchased. They were valued at $4,000. He gave us detailed drawings of the rings. We went back to the office, gave the information to burglary detail. An all-points bulletin was put out describing them. Pawn shops throughout the city and state were alerted to watch for the stolen rings. We had lunch with Chief Thad Brown at Costa's Cafe.
Never mind, Romero. I'll get it.
Oh, thank you, Chief. I'll get the tip. Stew was good.
There's some change for the cigarette machine. Thanks. Need any cigarettes, Joe?
No, thanks, Thad.
Let's go.
What do you think, Thad?
The description of the rings and the MO should help. They haven't turned up. Good chance he's holding on to them. Could be his first job. Probably scared.
Anybody check back over the neighborhood there?
Yesterday afternoon and this morning. A lot of door-to-door salesmen through that district. All been checked out.
It's a dead end. Now where?
If only those prints are checked out.
Well, they didn't. Got a kickback from Brereton in Sacramento on his MO. No make. We'll have to get him with what we've got.
Here's the car.
Sure you picked up all the loose ends?
Oh, we've been back over the course 3 times.
Go over it again. Keep going over it until something breaks.
For the next 10 days, we retraced our steps from the room where the crime was committed throughout the neighborhood to the place where she worked, back to the same dead end. Ben and I checked and double-checked each other to make certain that neither of us had overlooked even the smallest detail of the investigation. We got no place. It was 8 a.m., January 19th. Homicide, Friday.
This is Robles and burglary, Joe.
Yeah, Dick.
Got something for you. Job low last night. Couple of watches, strand of pearls.
How do we figure in it?
His M.O.
Yeah?
Guy got in through the garbage chute.
Besides fingerprints and photographs, one other mark by which the unknown criminal is identified is by his method of operation, his M.O. Once a thief finds a successful means of operation, he seldom changes it. In our search for Laura Barkley's murderer, we had checked our files and found no criminals at large whose practice it was to gain entrance through a garbage chute. It was reasonably safe to assume that this was the same man. It was 2 p.m., January 23rd. I was on my way back from the Record Bureau.
Just had a call, Joe. Elmer Radcliffe.
Informant?
Yeah. Says 2 days ago he heard about some guy who was making the rounds trying to peddle a couple of diamond rings.
Same ones?
He's not sure. Doesn't know what the guy looked like.
Any idea where the guy is now?
Hasn't been around since. Told Elmer to keep his eyes open.
Oh, that's good.
Come in here, you two.
What do you got, Thad?
This report just came down from burglary. Pawn shop down on North Main took in a watch and a strand of pearls last night.
Yeah?
Same stuff that Rubles called you about.
Yeah, I remember.
Where's it tying?
Same guy tried to peddle a couple of diamond rings.
10 a.m., January 25th. Thad Brown arranged to have all pawn shop detail calls concerning the suspect put through to us on extension 2521, homicide. 5 days passed. No further word. Homicide, Friday.
This is George Rose. I run the Harbor Pawn Shop, 2nd and Main.
Yeah, what's the matter?
Man in here, trying to turn those diamond rings. The ones on the stolen property list. I can't talk now.
Stall him, we'll be right down. Come on, Ben, move it.
Yeah?
The next corner.
There it is. Just up the block.
Pull up.
All right, let's go. Yeah.
Here we are. Say, fella.
Look out, Joe. He's got a gun. You all right, Joe?
Yeah. Out the back way. Let's get him.
There he goes, up alley.
Can you hit him? You didn't stop him. Watch it.
Come on, Joe.
He's turning on the spring.
He ran into that cafeteria up the street.
Come on, let's run.
Where'd he go? See him?
Yeah, there he goes. He's headed for the kitchen. Come on.
Stop that man! Stop him!
Out the back door into the alley.
There he goes.
Duck, Ben. All right, Joe, stop.
He's not stopping.
Stay clear.
He's down.
All right, come on. All right, get his guns.
Yeah. You got him in the leg, Joe. Hit his head when he fell.
All right, snap him on.
Look on the little finger of his right hand. 2 diamond rings.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense, does it?
What's that?
$4,000 worth of diamonds, and he's lying on a pile of garbage.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 2nd, 1947, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 81, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here are authentic reports from all over the country that tell the story of Fatima's sensational increase in popularity. New Orleans Division.
Fatima sales up 300%.
Detroit Division.
Fatima sales up 348%.
Los Angeles Division.
Fatima sales up 545%.
More and more smokers agree Fatima is the best of long cigarettes. So enjoy Fatima yourself and give extra mild Fatimas for Christmas in the attractive golden yellow carton. Everyone who smokes Fatima says that this great new long cigarette is the best of all long cigarettes.
Laura Barclay's murderer was identified as Martin Eric Swanson. He was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. His case was fought through the Supreme Court of California and in the United States Supreme Court. In both instances, his conviction was upheld. Last Friday morning, after a delay of 5 years, Martin Eric Swanson was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Acting Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet honors the city of Youngstown, state of Ohio, and the men who make up the Youngstown Police Department, another of America's great law enforcement agencies. One of these men, Chief of Police Edward J. Allen, honored as Policeman of the Year, who dedicates his life so that yours might be more secure.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. This Christmas, give the gift that makes every pipe smoker happy. A Christmas humidor of mellow Granger. Granger is made just for pipes by the tried and true Wellman method. Rough cut to smoke mild and cool, and humidor packed to stay ever fresh. Yes, make this Christmas a Merry Christmas for all the pipe smokers on your list. Give them each a Christmas humidor of mellow Granger.
Listen to Dragnet next week, and be sure to hear Morton Downey tonight on NBC. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A small boy is reported missing from his home. His age, 9 years. Foul play is suspected. Your job, find him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, December 22nd. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way into work, and it was 3:55 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Hi, Joe.
Ben, what's doing?
Oh, pretty quiet. How's your mother?
Well, that cold's still hanging on. Bad cough. Doc says nothing serious.
My kid's got the same thing. Must be some kind of a virus going around.
Yeah.
Is that a new suit you got on?
Oh, yeah. Ma I figured I needed one.
Let me see. Oh, yeah, that's a nice shade of blue. Where'd you get it?
Quincy's down in South Fig. Look okay?
Turn around. Oh, yeah, that's a good fit.
Did you get all the reports on the Webster case yet?
Yeah, all taken care of.
Let me get it. Homicide, Friday.
Well, this is Levinson, Unit 113J. Got something for you.
Yeah, Harry, what's doing?
Doherty and I are out here on Collis Avenue, 4656. Trying to track down a 9-year-old boy.
What's the story?
The kid's missing. Suspicion of foul play.
How long has he been gone?
About 2 hours. Looks like a job for homicide.
How do you figure?
The kid was last seen playing in the backyard of his home.
Yeah?
We checked over the yard.
Find anything?
Bloodstains, lots of them. They look new.
Ben and I left a message for Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. Then we went over to the crime lab, picked up Lieutenant Lee Jones, and drove out the Arroyo Seco freeway to Collis Avenue. It was an average neighborhood. Number 4656 was a one-story green stucco residence situated on the corner of Collis Avenue and Harrison Drive. Beyond the backyard was a tract of undeveloped land covered with scrub oak. Harry Levinson from Highland Park Juvenile was waiting for us in front of the house.
Back this way, fellas.
I'm coming, Lee.
Wait till I get my bag.
Okay. Who notified you that the boy was missing, Harry?
The mother said she went out to do some Christmas shopping about 11 this morning, left the boy home. She came back about 2 this afternoon. He was gone.
What's the name?
Johnstone. Kid's name is Stanley, 9 years old.
Mm-hmm. Was this gate open like this when you got here?
Oh, yeah. I haven't touched the thing. Here are the stains over here, Lieutenant Jones, along the edge of the walk, see?
Yeah. Let me see.
Quite a few stains, huh?
Looks like it might be blood. Try some benzodine on these spots here. There we are. See what happens?
Where's the kid's mother now, Harry?
In the house. Doherty's talking to her.
Did you talk to any of the neighbors?
People next door. One's on this side. They couldn't tell us anything.
There it is, fellas.
Yelly?
These spots I covered with benzodine. They're turning blue. Bloodstains, all right. Can't say definitely whether it's human or animal blood.
Mm-hmm. You have to go back to the lab to run it through?
Yeah, biological precipitin test. Hand me one of those glass vials from my bag, will you?
Yeah. Okay, here you are.
Thanks. Scrape some of these flakes off for a test. There we are.
How soon can you tap the blood for us, Lee?
Precipitin test won't run more than 20 minutes. It'll take 3 or 4 hours to run a blood grouping, though. That's it. Anything else you want to check?
Levinson, anything else?
Oh, right here, my handkerchief. Empty shell. That marker over there by the rose bush, that's where I found it.
From a .22, huh?
Yeah. Might tie in, might not.
Mark it and dump it in this envelope, will you?
Oh, yeah. Shell. There you go.
Did you get out a missing broadcast on the boy, Harry?
Doherty did about a half hour ago. Oh, here's a description here.
Thank you.
Mother know about the bloodstains?
No, we didn't tell her. She's worried enough already.
And she has no idea what might have happened to her boy?
No more than we do. She checked all her friends, relatives. We're covering the neighborhood. No trace so far.
Not much to go on.
Bloodstains, empty cartridge.
Could mean 100 things.
Any ideas, Franny?
Yeah, just one, and I don't like it. 4:30 p.m., Thursday, December 22nd. The neighborhood search for 9-year-old Stanley Johnstone continued. Lee Jones went back to the crime lab to start the precipitant test and the blood grouping. Levinson and his partner Doherty from Highland Juvenile stood by. We called Chief of Detectives Thad Brown, and he ordered up a special detail to aid in the search for the missing boy. Ben and I questioned the boy's mother, Mrs. Ruth Johnstone, a woman in her early 40s. She seemed fairly calm under the circumstances.
Miss Johnstone, is your boy Stan in the habit of wandering off without telling you where he's going?
No, he's not in the habit of wandering off, but he has done it before.
When was the last time, Miss Johnstone?
You don't have any children, do you, Sergeant Friday?
No, I'm not married.
Well, there comes that time in every young boy's life when he feels that it's time to leave home, to go out on his own. It usually happens somewhere around 8 to 10.
I think I know what you mean. I got a boy.
Well, then you know how it is. My husband and I scolded Stanley one day after school. He was quite put out about it. He thought George and I were unfair. Packed a few of his things and left.
How long was he gone?
Oh, no time at all. About 2 hours. I was worried about him, but my husband said to leave him alone. Said every boy had to go through that stage.
Well, then you think he's run away from home again this time?
Yes, I think so. He's been gone about 4 hours now, and I have a funny feeling about it.
Did you and his father have some misunderstanding with the boy recently?
Well, that's just it. We haven't. I don't mind telling you now that we're talking about it. I am getting worried.
Any place around that he might like to visit? Hobby shop, playground, where he might be?
Yeah, there's Jensen's model shop and little Shanna Burrows, but I've already called him, and he hasn't been seen all day. I called all his friends. They have no idea where he is either.
We'd like a list of all his friends and the places that he was known to frequent.
Oh, yeah, all right, I'll give them to you. Where do you suppose he is?
Where's your husband now, Miss Johnstone?
Oh, he's at work. George works for the city. He's a fireman.
What house is he stationed at?
Engine Company 12. He's working the A platoon. He'll be home tomorrow morning. I haven't told him that Stanley's gone.
Was there any chance that the boy might be down at the firehouse with his father?
No, he seldom goes down there anymore. No, I don't think he's there. I'm awfully worried. May I call my husband?
Certainly, go right ahead.
I know George will be worried. Stanley's been gone too long. Hello? May I speak with George Johnstone? This is Mrs. Johnstone. Thank you. I hate to call George at his work.
Yes, ma'am.
Does your husband own a gun?
Yes, he does.
What caliber, do you know?
Well, it's a .45 automatic. He got it... George? This is Ruth. George, is Stanley down there with you by any chance? Oh. No, I can't find him anywhere. He hasn't been here when I came home from my shopping. There are 2 policemen here. No, I said there are 2 policemen here. Oh, no, dear. I'll call you if we don't find him soon. All right, dear. Yes, you too. Goodbye. Well, I didn't think he'd be with George.
That .45, is that the only gun in the household?
Wait, yes. Why are you asking about guns? Has anything happened that you're not telling me about?
No, ma'am. Just routine checking. We'll have to take a look at that .45, if you don't mind.
Maybe I should tell you. We do have another gun in the house, but it's all wrapped up. George bought it for Stanley's Christmas present.
May we see it, please?
Well, yes. Will you have to unwrap it?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
I think I can reach it. We had to hide it. Now, let me see. Oh, here's the paper it was wrapped in. Stanley must have found it. It's gone. See, here's the gift card and the box the gun came in, the rifle.
Can I look at that box, ma'am? Thank you.
How about it, Joe?
.22 caliber. Thursday, December 22nd, 5:15 p.m. It was getting dark. The search for the missing boy continued. We checked the list of Stanley Johnstone's friends. None of them or their parents had any idea of his whereabouts. We talked with Levinson again. He had been in touch with the detail combing the neighborhood. They had found nothing. We went down to Collis Avenue and 10th Street, service station on the corner.
1 nickel, Joe?
No, I got one. You watch for that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
City Hall.
2667, please.
2667.
Crime Lab, Jones.
Hi, Lee. Joe Friday.
Yeah, Joe. Any sign of the Johnson kid?
No, not yet. How are you coming?
Finished the precipitin test. It's human blood.
Yeah?
Working with the blood group now. Do you know what type the Johnson boy has?
Well, we didn't want to upset his mother. We thought we'd wait till the last thing. We're still in the neighborhood.
Check with the family physician. That way you won't disturb.
Yeah, we figured on that. Oh, just a minute, Lee. Yeah, Ben.
Boss just pulled up.
Okay. Thad Brown's out here now. I'll check you later, Lee, huh?
Yeah, right, Joe.
All right, goodbye.
Gentlemen, how's it going?
Just checked with Lee Jones.
Yeah, I know. It's human blood. What do you think?
We talked with the boy's mother, Mrs. Johnston. Found a gun missing.
Yeah.
Caliber's the same as the empty casing that Levinson found. 22.
You said the gun was missing.
Yeah, the Johnstones were going to give it to the boy as a Christmas present. They had it hidden, but it's gone now.
Any idea who took it?
Well, they left the Christmas wrapping behind. I think it was the kid.
.22 rifle, huh? 9-year-old boy. When are they going to learn? First, it's carbide cannons on the 4th of July. The city issued ordinance after ordinance, but a few thousand kids around the country had to lose their eyes, fingers, hands before the parents gives us their full cooperation to outlaw them.
I know what you mean.
Sure you do. You and every other cop in the country became the heavies trying to clamp down on them. It's always the same story. This time it's guns for Christmas.
I know what you're thinking, but we're not sure yet.
Listen, Friday, there's a city ordinance against giving a gun to a kid. You know that.
Yes, I know that.
There's a missing boy and a missing gun. There's blood on the ground and an empty shell. That's enough for me.
We're going to stay with it. Something's got to break.
Yeah. I hope it's not the hearts of that kid's parents.
Oh, hi, Chief. I've been looking for you, Friday.
What do you got, Harry?
Found the gun. New .22 rifle. Strong smell of cordite. I'd say it's been recently fired.
Where'd you find it, Levinson?
Back up there in that scrub oak. Up behind the Johnston house. Mrs. Johnstone identified it. Buckley took it down to the crime lab.
Thanks, Harry. Is Miss Johnson okay?
Pretty sick now. Kilby came up with something else.
What's that?
There's another one missing. An 8-year-old boy.
6:30 p.m. We talked with Officer Kilby about the other missing boy. He told us that his name was Stephen Moorheim, 8 years old. His family had just moved into the neighborhood, and it seemed that no one besides the Moorheim family knew that the boys played together. Mrs. Moorheim told us that Stephen told her that he was going out to play and that he'd be home by 6 o'clock for dinner. She told us that he was an unusually prompt boy and almost never overstayed his playtime. We got a description of the Moorheim boy and put out a missing broadcast. We called the Johnstones' family doctor. He told us that Stanley's blood was type O. At 7 p.m., we talked again with Mrs. John Moorheim.
Are you sure Mrs. Johnstone doesn't know where the boys are?
She has no idea, Miss Moorheim.
It's terrible. It's just awful. I feel there's more to this thing. Something you're not telling me.
Well, there's no use to upset you until we know a few things for sure.
Then you are holding back something.
Now, please try not to worry, Ms. Moorheim. There are certain questions we'll have to ask, routine questions in any kind of investigation.
Is there anything else you want to know?
Yes, ma'am. What is your boy's blood type?
That's a funny question. Do you think anything's happened to him? Have you found him and you're not telling me?
No, ma'am, we haven't found him. We don't think anything's happened to him.
His blood type?
Yes, ma'am.
I think I have it written down in Stevie's baby book. Yes, here it is. Type O.
Thank you. I wonder if I might use your phone, please?
Yes, of course. It's in the hall.
I'll be right back, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
City Hall.
2667, please.
2667.
Randall, Pinker.
Hello, Ray. This is Friday. Lee there?
Just a minute, Joe. Take 2, Lee. Joe speaking.
Checking back, Lee.
Did you get the blood types on the 2 missing boys?
Yeah, both boys type O.
So were the stains, Joe. Type O.
You are listening to Dragnet for the solution to an actual case from official police files.
8 p.m., Thursday, December 22nd. Still no sign of either of the missing boys. Chief of Detectives Thad Brown went back to headquarters to direct the search from there. He dispatched another detail of 50 men to aid in the hunt for the missing youngsters. 8:30 p.m. It was getting colder. The citrus growers were warned to expect a freeze. We went up the block to see Mrs. Johnstone. Her husband had quit work early and returned home. We talked with him. He could tell us nothing more than we already knew. We still had not informed either of the families about the bloodstains and the empty cartridge casing which had been discovered in the backyard of the Johnstone home. It was more than possible that they had a right to know about our findings, but Ben and I felt that there was no cause to add to the distress of the two families at this time. If the two missing boys were found alive and well, then the bloodstains in the cartridge case would be of no concern to the relieved parents. At 8:40 p.m., Ben and I left the Johnstone house and went to the home of Mr. and Mrs. John Moorheim.
Miss Moorheim, you said your husband worked at a market?
Yes. He telephoned about 15 minutes ago and said he was closing up right away. He'll be here any minute. I do wish Stevie would call or come home. It's so cold out tonight. All he had on was a thin cotton jacket.
Please try not to worry. We're doing everything we can. He's going to be all right.
Stevie's father's such a sensitive man. He and the boy are so close. I know he's terribly upset.
No, you're sure there's no place you might have forgotten? Someplace where the boy might be?
No place. No. If anything happened to the boy, it'll just kill Joe.
No.
You sit still. I'll get it, Miss Moorheim.
Joe?
Hi, Harry.
The Johnstone kid. He's been found.
Oh, he's home, Sergeant. He's come home. Thank God he's all right.
Where's he been? Did he tell you?
No, he didn't. His clothes were all dirty and he's acting strange. I've never seen him like this.
How do you mean, Miss Johnson?
Well, he just came in the front door and said, "Hello, Mom," and then he sat down in a chair and stared at the floor. He won't talk to his father or me.
Do you mind if I talk to him?
No, go ahead. I asked him about the little Moorheim boy, and he wouldn't tell me a thing.
Where is he now?
In the living room.
Looks all right.
Yes. Son, this is a police officer. He wants to talk to you. Now, don't be afraid, dear. He only wants to ask you some questions. Son. You see, Sergeant?
Stanley, come on, look at me, son. Get your head up, youngster. Come on, now that's better. I had your mother pretty worried, you know that? You want to tell us where you've been?
I wish you'd try to get him to eat a little something.
You hear that, son? Want something to eat? Stanley, there's another little boy up the street who hasn't come home. Do you know where he is? His father and mother are worried about him, too, just like your folks were. You've got to help us find him, son.
I killed him. I killed Steve with the .22. We were only playing. But I killed him.
How do you know you killed him? Maybe he's only hurt. Now, isn't that it?
No, he's dead. I know he's dead. The gun went off. We forgot we put bullets in there.
Where is he, Stanley?
I hid him. I was scared. I didn't want anybody to find him.
Where did you hide him, son?
In a cave up on the hill. I didn't mean it. It was my pal.
Do you want to show us where, son?
Yes, I'll show you. Please don't send me to jail.
9:15 p.m., Thursday, December 22nd. 9-year-old Stanley Johnstone led the way up the hill behind the backyard of his home. He showed us the wagon he moved the body in. His father came along with us. About 50 feet from the crest of the hill, the boy pointed to a thicket of scrub oak. There we found a small cave holding the body of Stephen Moorheim. There was a single bullet wound in his chest just below his heart. He was dead. We covered the body.
Stanley, how did it happen?
I knew my folks were going to give me the gun for Christmas. I knew where it was, and I got it. There was a box of bullets with it.
Were you pointing the gun at Stephen?
No, sir. No, sir, I wasn't. It was Steve's turn to play with it. I was chasing him. He tripped over the stump there in our backyard and fell. The gun hit him in the stomach, and it went off.
Why do you think you killed him if you're telling us the truth?
I'm telling the truth, honest. That's the truth.
All right, I believe you, son, but why do you think you killed him?
It was my gun. Steve would still be alive if I didn't go and get it. I should have waited till Christmas. It's all my fault.
Where have you been all this time?
In the cave with Steve.
What were you doing in there, son?
I was praying. I was praying for God to make him alive again.
After a thorough investigation, Ben and I were convinced that the shooting of Stephen Moorheim was accidental. Lieutenant Lee Jones' findings substantiated the Johnstone boy's story even to the smallest detail. We put in a call to the coroner's office and acquainted him with the facts. He designated a local mortuary to handle the body pending autopsy and granted us permission to remove the body to the Moorheim home. Mrs. Moorheim collapsed. The family doctor was called. Ben and I sat in the living room to wait for John Moorheim, the dead boy's father.
Edith! Edith!
Mr. Moorheim?
Yes. You the police?
Yes, sir.
Where's Edith? Where's my wife? Has my boy come home? Have you found him?
Yes, sir.
Well, where is he? Steve! Stevie! Where's Steve? He's hurt, isn't he?
Yes, sir.
Oh, where is he? I want to see him.
He's hurt bad, Mr. Moorheim.
Oh, where is he? I want to see him.
He's in his room.
How bad?
Pretty bad.
He's dead. All right, if I go in.
Don't make it any harder on yourself, Mr. Morheim.
I want to see my boy. Stevie.
Mr. Morheim.
Stevie. Listen to me, son. We've got you a lot of nice things for Christmas. Everything you wanted. I got you those 3 new cars for the train. The one with the searchlights really works. Son, you got that new switch you wanted to it. A little boy tried. Oh, Steve. Now you can have a big payout. You know that new baseball mitt you saw? Well, I got it for you. Steve. That cowboy outfit you wanted, I got you too.
Mr. Morheim. Come on, Joe.
What happened?
It was an accident. He was playing with the Johnstone boy up the street. Playing with a gun. He went off.
What was the other boy's name?
Stanley Johnston. It was an accident.
Mr. Morheim, where are you going?
I want to see that boy.
We had no idea what the dead boy's father had in mind. We didn't feel that we should try to restrain him. We went along with him up the street to the Johnstone home.
I'm Stevie's father. Where's your boy?
I'm sorry.
Where's your boy?
He's right here. Won't you come in?
It's all right, Mrs. Johnston.
You the boy that was with Stevie?
Yes, sir.
What's your name?
Stanley.
Stanley. I know it wasn't your fault, Stanley. I wonder if you'd do something for me.
Yes, sir.
I've got a lot of nice presents for Stevie. I know he'd want you to have them. I want to give them to you. Christmas Eve.
Mom?
I think that would be a fine idea, son.
Come on, Ben.
What does it all prove, Joe?
You don't give a kid a gun for Christmas.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 24th, 1948, a coroner's inquest was held in the county morgue, city and county of Los Angeles, state of California. In a moment, the results of that inquest. At the coroner's inquest, it was officially recorded that Stephen Morheim's death was the result of an accident. Stanley Johnstone, age 9, was absolved of any legal responsibility for his friend's death. You have just heard Dragnet, a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Acting Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet honors Hennepin County, Minneapolis, state of Minnesota, and the men of the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, another of America's great law enforcement agencies. One of these men, Sheriff Ed Ryan, veteran police officer and department administrator, who dedicates his life to making yours more secure.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portion transcribed from Los Angeles.
Be sure to hear songs by Morton Downey tonight on NBC.
Ladies and gentlemen, for a more authentic presentation, portions of the program you are about to hear were actually recorded on the scene.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A gang of hold-up men have been running loose in your city. They've committed more than a dozen robberies. They're heavily armed, quick to shoot. Your job, stop them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima is doubling and redoubling its smokers. So, if you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Saturday, July 21st. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the record bureau, and it was 6:55 p.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery detail.
Hi, Joe, you ready?
Let's go.
Where'll I dump this top coat? Yeah. It's too hot out tonight for that.
Yeah. The rest of the guys take off already?
Yeah, we better hustle.
How many men are working this thing tonight?
Must be at least 50, covering every drugstore in the South Central area.
Which one did we draw?
Naomi in South Alameda, Rex Pharmacy.
Yeah.
Parking lot across the street. We can cover the pharmacy from there.
We better check out a Thompson from the business office first, huh?
That's a good idea. We might as well be ready. They are.
Who got the tip the gang was moving into the south end of town?
Johnny Powers, one of his informants.
Okay, here we are.
Business office, Blair. Yeah, I'll take care of it. Thanks.
Hey, Blair, do you want to check out a Thompson for us?
Okay, Friday. Heavy duty?
Yeah, kind of.
There's a sign-out book.
Thank you.
Hey, you might as well give us a shotgun while you're at it, Blair.
Okay. Check these out for an hour. Sounds like a busy night for you fellas.
Maybe.
Thompson's okay. So the shotgun.
Want to sign up for the shotgun too, Joe?
Yeah, okay. One Thompson submachine gun, one shotgun. You got those serial numbers there, Blair?
Yeah. Thompson 67811.
67811. Yeah.
Shotgun 655228.
5228. Okay. Signed, Joe Friday. Serial number 2288. Ben Romero. What's your serial number, Ben?
2633.
Oh, yeah. 33.
6 shells for the shotgun, 50 shells for the Thompson, okay?
All right, I'll sign for him. Okay.
Gang's pretty rough, I understand. Gun heavy.
Yeah, that's what they tell us. Okay. Here's the book, all signed.
Okay. Here you go. A lot of firepower there.
Yeah, hope you don't have to clean them when we bring them back. We went down to the basement of the city hall, picked up our car, 80K, and drove out to Naomi and South Alameda Streets. We located the parking lot and pulled in. There were 4 other cars parked in the lot so we wouldn't be conspicuous. Ben and I got in the back seat out of the light. From our vantage point, we had a clear view of the entrance to the Rex Pharmacy across the street. We had the shotgun and the submachine gun on the seat beside us. We listened to the calls coming on the radio, and we waited.
13J, stand by.
There's no cooler here than it is in the office.
Yeah. Hot and sticky, huh?
Yeah. Paper says it's going to be worse tomorrow.
Roll down your window, will you, and get some air in here?
Yeah, huh?
The pharmacy isn't doing much business. Not more than a dozen people in there in the last hour.
No soda fountain to get. Sure is hot.
You have to talk about it, huh?
It helps.
What time you got?
10 minutes to 10.
No smoke?
No, thanks.
Yeah, I'll get it. That gang's gonna show up here. Wish they'd get it over with.
Fellas might have got a bum tip.
Well, the gang hasn't missed a weekend for 2 months.
I wonder how much time the average cop spends waiting.
I don't know. Put it all together and make a fine vacation. What do we do, sit this out till the pharmacy closes?
Yeah, 2 a.m. Sure is hot.
Yeah. Midnight came and passed. The traffic on South Alameda thinned out. Only an occasional customer entered the pharmacy across the street. Ben kept complaining about the heat. We waited.
Well, that's it, Joe. There go the lights. Drugstore's closing.
Yeah, guy's locking the doors. There he goes.
We might as well shove off, too.
Yeah. Let's get in the front seat.
There's not much call for this shotgun tonight.
There's no use checking it in. Same duty to mine, eh?
Attention all units. All units in the vicinity of 8th Hill, on the corner of Hill and Geneva Alley, the 211 and shooting. Code 3.
Hit the light. Yeah, come on, let's roll. Sunday, July 22nd, 2:15 a.m. Ben and I pulled up at the Merchant Security Trust Company on the corner of South Hill and Geneva Alley. 2 patrol cars were already on the scene, and 4 uniformed officers were trying to keep back a crowd of people who had gathered at the top of a flight of marble stairs, which led off the street, down one flight to the bank's night depository. At the bottom of the stairs, an elderly man was sprawled out, face down, his right arm twisted under him. The man was dead. Ben counted 5 bullet wounds in the victim's back. We interviewed the only witness, a young sailor.
My name's Vasey, Sergeant. Don Vasey, quartermaster, 2nd class. Here's my ID card.
You saw the shooting, Vasey?
I was about a half a block away. I just came out of the bar down the street there, the Top Hat.
Yeah?
Had a couple of beers, then I left and I started walking back to the hotel.
When was that?
About 5 after 2.
Go on.
Well, before I got to the corner, I saw this man ahead of me. He crossed the street and headed over for the bank. Then this car pulled up and some guys got out. They ran over to the man and it looked like they were frisking him.
Yeah?
All of a sudden, I heard shots. The man ran for the stairs here, and it looked like he stumbled and fell. A bunch of guys jumped back in the car and drove away.
What'd you do then?
I ran up to see what I could do for the old man. He was lying down there where he is now. Nothing I could do for him. I yelled for a cop.
Did you get a look at the men in that car?
No, I just saw them from a distance. 4 of them, maybe 5.
What about the car? Did you see the license number?
The last couple of numbers, that's all. 699. Couldn't see the rest.
What was it, a coupe or sedan?
A sedan, maroon color. It was a Pontiac, either a 1940 or 41.
You sure about that?
I used to own one back in Delaware, 1940 model. I sold it to my brother when I went in the Navy. I'm sure all right.
And you're sure about the number of men in the car?
Oh, yes, sir. 4 or 5, no more.
I see, thanks. Well, will you drive back to the office with us and give us a full statement?
Sure, Sergeant. Anything you say.
You can wait in the car, Vasey. We won't be long.
Sure.
Well, what do you think?
I don't know.
Drugstore gang?
Said there were 4 guys. Could be. No description.
Maroon car. 3 numbers off the license plate.
Pretty thin.
Yeah. Looks like a hard summer. We completed our preliminary investigation. The coroner arrived, and the body was taken to the county morgue in the basement of the Hall of Justice. The victim was identified as Walter Conroy, the proprietor of the Flowerland Dance Hall on South Hill Street. Together with officers Fremont and Hurst from homicide, Ben and I spent most of Sunday tracking down employees of the dance hall and interviewing them. We sent a rush teletype to the Department of Motor Vehicles in Sacramento containing the partial license number, plus our scanned information on the car which the suspects drove. Early Monday afternoon, Ben and I, along with Captain Ed Walker of Robbery Detail, met with Chief of Detectives Thad Brown.
What kind of a motive are you working on?
Robbery. The dance hall manager, Conroy, was on his way to the bank's night depository when this bunch caught up with him. He had the night's receipts with him from the dance hall.
How much they got, Walker?
$350. They missed over 1,000 Conroy had in an inside pocket.
No idea who pulled the stick up?
It could have been that drugstore gang.
Why them?
We haven't missed working a weekend night for 2 months. There's no sign of any other job that they might have pulled Saturday.
Just a hunch, Chief. Nothing to go on. We'll have to guess our way for a while.
Sacramento checking the description of the car, the numbers off the license plate?
Yeah, ought to have an answer this afternoon.
Any leads on the drugstore gang at all?
Plenty. None of them good. Suspects are loaded down with guns. That's all we know.
Excuse me. Brown speaking. Just a minute. Friday speaking.
Oh, thanks. I'll reach it over here. Friday. Yeah, Ralph. How many? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Well, I got an answer from DMV Sacramento about the holdup car.
What'd they say, Joe?
Well, they looked up the possible combinations of 1940 or 41 Pontiac sedans with the number 699 on the license plate.
Yeah?
123 possibles to check.
Not much choice.
No car of that description on the hot list. Killer might be the legal owners.
123.
Well, even after we check them, we still might not have the right party.
That's right. If we got a better lead, we'll work on it.
Nope.
Well, then ride this till it falls apart.
For the next 13 days, Ben and I, Fremont and Hurst from homicide, plus a half a dozen other men, hacked away at the list of 123 car registrations, any one of which could have been issued to the holdup car. The color of the sedan didn't help us much to start with, since California vehicle registrations do not include the colors of the cars. After 14 days of gradual elimination of possibles, the field was narrowed to 6, then 4, and then 2. August 6th, Monday, 5:30 p.m. Ben and I were called to Thad Brown's office.
Gentlemen, you check out that last possible yet?
About 20 minutes ago. It didn't pan out.
What about Hurst and Fremont? They had one left.
Right here. Could be the answer.
Yeah.
1940 Pontiac sedan, license number 4XA699. Last registration, San Diego.
Sounds good.
We teletyped to San Diego police. They say the car's been sold to a woman out in Santa Monica.
Anyone checked her?
Well, that's what I want you two for.
San Diego and Santa Monica. Well, it's in the right area.
Can't afford to miss now. I hope it's the right one.
Well, it's got to be. Check it.
Ben and I checked the woman in Santa Monica, Mrs. Fielding. She told us that she had sold the car 6 months before to a friend who lived in Bakersfield. We contacted her friend. He told us the car had been traded in by him to an auto dealer in Pasadena. We checked the dealer. He said the car had been sold off his used car lot 2 months before. The new buyer had given his name as Emil Thurston. 2 names were given as reference, Lloyd Newton and John Lacombe. We ran a routine check through the record bureau.
Ran them through, fellas. Here's the packages.
Get a make for him?
On all 3.
What'd you find on Thurston?
Let's see. Thurston, 2-time loser, second time up to Q on 5 counts of armed robbery. On parole from Quentin now.
How about the other 2?
Lacombe, let's see. Preston reformatory, 2 terms, went up 3 years ago, violation of Dyer Act. He's on parole, too.
What about Newton? Did you make him?
2 terms in Oklahoma. They're looking for him now. He's on parole.
Can I look at that just a minute, Frank?
Sure.
I have all 3 of them. Take a look, Ben. Each one of the mama sheets on these 3 guys.
Yeah.
All right. Right here under General M.O. See?
Mm-hmm. Thurston, heavily armed at time of arrest.
Yeah. This one, Lacombe. Huh?
Heavily armed.
This one on Newton. Same thing.
Gun happy.
Yeah. Come on. At the time he purchased the car, suspect Emil Thurston listed his home address as 1517 North Hoover Avenue. Previous robbery victims positively identified Thurston and his companions. At 1517 North Hoover, the landlady also identified Thurston and his companions as tenants. She told us they drove a red sedan and they parked the car at a Temple Street garage. An immediate stakeout was placed on the apartment house, and we started the canvass of Temple Street garages from Hoover Avenue down to Rampart Boulevard. At 4 p.m., Ben spotted the car in Donnelly's garage on Temple Street near Michigan Drive. The garage attendant told us that the owner of the car had given his name as Emil Thurston. We showed him the mug shots.
Yeah, used to park his car in here a while back. Then he came in yesterday morning with these two guys and said he wanted a paint job.
Doesn't look like he needs a paint job to me.
They offered me $20 extra if I do it in a hurry. He wants the car painted green.
When's he going to call for the car?
About 10 o'clock tonight. These jobs take time. He's not going to like it if the car's not finished.
He won't like it if it is. Come on, Ben.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Now, here is an authentic report from Fatima Cigarettes.
In 1949, Fatima doubled, tripled, and quadrupled its smokers.
In 1950, enjoy Fatima yourself.
You'll find Fatima extra mild.
Because Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobacco superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild.
You'll find Fatima tastes much better.
Fatima's superb blend gives you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
You'll find Fatima tops in cigarette quality.
Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality. For a new year of greater smoking enjoyment, buy Fatima in the appealing gold and yellow package. You'll agree, Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
7 p.m. Tuesday, August 7th. Chief of Detectives Thad Brown and Captain Ed Walker swung the entire robbery detail into action. The stakeout at the apartment house on North Hoover continued. An additional detail of men was stationed in a vacant store on Temple Street directly opposite Donnelly's garage. Donnelly's garage was a small family outfit, and the only spot from which we could cover it thoroughly without being seen was from a large paint locker set up against the right wall. The garage man cleared enough room so that Ben and I could fit into the locker in a half-stoop position. 2 small latches were rigged up so that we could pull the doors closed from the inside. 4 ventilation holes at the top and bottom of the doors provided us with peepholes. At 8 o'clock that night, Ben and I took our places inside the locker. The trap was set. We waited.
Can you see all right, Joe?
Yeah. It's hot in here. Stale air.
Tight fit. I'm getting a clamp in my shoulder.
What time did that garage man say he closed?
11 o'clock. Those lousy paint smells.
Stuff it, man.
Hey, that car pulling in. Can you see the driver?
Wait a minute. It's nothing. Somebody getting gas.
Hope they show up. Wouldn't want this to go on another night.
Well, don't count on it.
Foot's going to sleep.
Why don't you stand still? What time you got?
Let me see. Get the light on in here. 10 minutes to 9.
Thanks. The popular conception of the working detective rarely includes a glimpse of his everyday run-of-the-mill duties. Filling out forms, conducting interviews, or waiting long, monotonous hours parked in a car or standing half-crouched in a garage paint locker. It's slow, dull, and tedious, and it's 95% of the police officer's job. By 10 o'clock that night, there was still no sign of Thurston and his friends. The cramped locker got more cramped with the passing minutes. The air was thick with paint fumes. We waited. At 10:55, a taxi pulled to a stop in front of the garage. 3 men got out.
You see him, Joe?
Wait till they step into the light. There's another guy still in the cab.
Here he comes. There's the first guy.
Yeah, it's Thurston.
Fourth guy's getting out of the cab.
That looks like Newton, man.
That's him.
Yeah, it's Lacombe right behind. Fat guy. Here they come.
Sure do look the part.
All right. Unlatch your door, but don't open it.
Yeah.
Quiet, Ben. What's the matter?
That latch is stuck. Wait a minute.
Did you get it?
No, it's really stuck.
All right, tap it with your gun stock. Come on, easy.
There it is. It's loose.
Good. Can you see where they are now?
Yeah. Talking to the garage man. Not looking this way.
No, they just stay that way, huh? You ready?
Okay.
Don't tip them off till we're right on top of them. Let them get away from that garage man, huh?
Right.
All right. Let's go.
Approximately 25 or 30 yards separated us from the suspects. I glanced across Temple Street at the vacant store where Thad Brown and the other men were staked out. 25 yards is a long way to walk when you're approaching a murderer, and you know that he won't hesitate to kill you in order to escape. Ben flipped the safety off the machine gun. We were almost halfway across the garage, 15 yards away. Thurston turned and saw us.
Look out, Joe! I got one of them.
They're ducked behind the car, went up the stairs. 3 of them.
Come on. Where'd they go?
Up the stairs.
Over!
Up this way, Joe.
Yeah, watch it, Ben. Get on. They're somewhere back in that corner up there. You're trapped. Throw down your gun. All right, Ben, give it over.
Throw down your guns. Throw them down.
There's 3 of them. 6 of them.
All right, now come on down with your hands behind your head.
Cover me, Ben. I'll frisk him.
Right. You up on the end. Get your hands back of your head.
All right, stand still. All right, next one. Go on. Clean. All right. Look home.
Watch him jump. All right, you. Rest of you, stand back. Keep your hands up.
You all right, Joe?
Yeah. 2 more guns on him.
All right, you two, hold it. Here comes the chief.
Yeah, I'll get these guns together here.
Lacombe. He's not much of a fighter.
Not without a gun. The suspects were booked at different divisions to keep them separated. Emil Thurston and Lloyd Newton were taken to Hollenbeck Park and booked on suspicion of armed robbery and murder. John Lacombe was booked at Highland Park Jail on the same charges. The other suspect, who had been wounded in the escape attempt, was identified as Harold Steves, 19 years old. He was treated for a leg wound at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and then transferred to the prison ward at the county hospital. During the next 2 days, each of the suspects was questioned individually. Thurston, Lacombe, and Newton would admit nothing. The 19-year-old Steves broke down and agreed to turn state's evidence. We took his statement to Chief of Detectives Thad Brown.
Gentlemen, what did the boy tell you?
Just about everything, boss. They pulled the drugstore holdups and they killed that dance hall owner, Walter Conroy.
Which one of them?
Well, the kid says Thurston shot him. He says Thurston's the gang leader.
Good. You finally got a count on those guns you took off them?
Yeah, 12 of them. Each one of them was ready to go, bullet in every chamber.
Did you get a complaint from the DA's office yet?
They were arraigned. Preliminary hearing set for Monday.
Fine. You got them in jail. I'll put them in prison.
The apprehension of the criminal doesn't mean the end of a case for a police officer. He spends just as much time helping to convict the criminal after he's caught. Evidence must be gathered and authenticated and presented to the district attorney's office. If confessions are possible, they must be obtained and put in order. The officer must also help out in formulating the case and in testifying at the trial of a suspect. On October 30th, almost 3 months after the Thurston gang was apprehended, they were brought to trial in Superior Court. It was a routine affair. Harold Steves took the stand and told the story of the gang's activities. The victims identified the suspects and testified to the robberies. Both Ben and I took the stand and testified to the arrest and possession of guns by the defendants. We received no cross-examination. On the morning of March 2nd, the case went to the jury. Ben and I had lunch with Lieutenant Rombo from robbery in the City Hall cafeteria, and it was 5 minutes past 1 when we got back to the office.
Well, it sure was good soup today.
Yeah, it was a nice lunch. You want to check the mail?
I didn't yet.
I'll get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah? When? Right. Lacombe and Thurston. They just broke jail. Within 7 minutes, a dragnet for the escaped criminals had been thrown around the entire city. Chief of Detectives Thad Brown directed the operation. At 14 minutes past 1, he called us to the photocopy room. The machines were turning out duplicate mug shots of Thurston and Lacombe for distribution at the rate of 1 every 4 seconds.
You want us to stand by, Chief?
For the moment, yeah. We got all the help we need on the street.
How'd they pull the break, anyway?
Slugged the deputy when he brought in their lunch. Used a steel leg from one of the benches in the prisoner's tank.
Yeah?
And they beat the deputy right into the ground, but he held on to Newton. He didn't get away.
How'd Thurston and Lacombe ever get out of the building?
He's a real freak. They slugged the elevator man and got down to the basement. Right then, an ambulance crew was wheeling a body in the morgue. The attendant left the ignition keys in the ambulance.
Shouldn't be too rough to track them if they're in an ambulance.
Tougher than you think.
How those copies coming, Frank? Fast as we can make them, Chief. I have another batch for you in a minute.
You had any reports at all yet, boss?
Couple. They're moving fast.
Frank, you want to get that? I can't see in this dark room.
Yeah, I'll get it. Yeah?
Chief Brown in there?
Yeah, come on in.
Now, Walker, what do you got?
Kill that dry, will you?
Oh, yeah. Now, what do you got?
Gas station out on Sunset. Lacombe and Thurston just held it up.
We picked up our car in the City Hall garage and drove out to the service station on the corner of Sunset Boulevard and Lorraine Drive. Detectives Ruiz and Stromwall from robbery were already on the scene. The two escapees had abandoned the ambulance there, robbed the station of $56 in currency, and stolen a 1938 gray Packard coupe, license number 7 Robert 6336. We left the station and started to cruise the area. It was 1:55 p.m.
Attention all units. Attention all units.
Get it up, Joe.
Yeah.
6380 North Sunset at 211 in progress. 6380 North Sunset at 211 in progress. Code 3.
This is the 6100 block.
Yeah, come on.
At 6380 North Sunset.
Yes, look.
Maybe. Push it. Hey, that car pulling out up ahead there.
A gray coupe.
Wait a minute. 7 Robert, that's them.
Lights changing. They can't make it.
They're going through. They're skidding.
They hit the lamppost. Broke it off.
All right, pull up. Come on.
Right.
All right, let's go.
Lucky if they live through this one.
Yeah. All right, come on. Help me with this door.
Yeah,
all right. Pull. All right, can you take him?
Yeah.
I'll get Lacombe.
You look okay?
Yeah. Get Thurston out of here.
Right. Come on, you. Come on. Yeah.
All right, Lacombe, come on.
I'll give you a gun. I'll kill you.
Oh, sure you will. Come on.
I'll kill you.
All right, don't try to walk. How's Thurston, Ben?
Seems okay. Couple of scratches.
All right, sit down over there.
Lacombe slugged the guard.
It's funny. They don't look very tough.
They can't play their part. They haven't got their guns.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 3rd, 1947, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 91, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here are the actual figures. New York Division.
Fatima sales up 132%.
Chicago Division.
Fatima sales up 453%.
Los Angeles Division.
Fatima sales up 545%.
Yes, in 1949, more and more smokers discovered that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
They found Fatima extra mild.
They found Fatima has a much different, much better flavor.
They found the name Fatima means the best in cigarette quality.
In 1950, enjoy Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
Emil Thurston, John Lacombe, and Lloyd Newton were convicted of first-degree murder and robbery and sentenced to life terms. For turning state's evidence, 19-year-old Harold Steves received special consideration. As a result of the jailbreak, Thurston and Lacombe were convicted of assault and escape. They are now serving life terms in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Acting Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet honors the city of Pasadena, state of California, and the men who make up the Pasadena Police Force, another of America's great law enforcement agencies. One of these men, Chief of Police Clarence H. Morris, traffic specialist and veteran police administrator, dedicates his life to making yours more secure.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portion transcribed from Los Angeles.
Be sure to hear songs by Morton Downey tonight on NBC. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. 2 armed bandits have robbed a large jewelry store in your city. One of the suspects escapes. One is apprehended. He's identified as a friend of yours. Your job, send him to prison.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima is doubling and redoubling its smokers. So, if you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, February 8th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way over from the city hall, and it was 8:35 p.m. when I got to the second floor of the Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. Treatment room.
Joe, hi.
Hi, Doc. Ben, how's it going?
Okay. It hurt for a while. Doc gave me an injection.
1/6 of a grain of morphine, Novocaine injection.
The bullet still in your shoulder?
Doc's about ready to take it out.
As soon as I get the wound cleaned, here's the soap and water, nurse. Alcohol sponge, please.
How's it look, Doctor?
Well, there's the X-ray. Shallow penetrating wound in the deltoid area. Sludge, larger than the soft tissue right here.
Oh, yeah.
No bone involvement. Okay, the bullet was spent.
That's good. Feel okay?
Sure.
Nurse, methylate applicators, please. Thanks. Let's see now.
Where'd you leave Tyler, Joe?
Interrogation room. Reynolds and Thompson are with him.
Let me have the probe, nurse. Yeah. Feel anything, Romero?
No.
That's it. You hear that?
Hear what?
Located the slug with a probe.
Oh.
Nurse, faucet. Thanks. Here we go. Oh, steady.
You call your wife?
No, she don't worry.
Here it is, boys. Want to mark it for evidence?
Yeah, give it to me, will you? I will.
Nurse, sterile saline solution. Irrigate the wound.
No sign of Tyler's partner, huh, Joe? Guy got me?
No, not yet, no.
Sterile dressings, please.
How long did you know this Tyler? Before he went wrong with me.
I met him in the Army, helped him line up a job when he got out. It's too bad.
Sure is funny. Meeting a friend of yours pulled an armed robbery. Must have surprised you, huh?
Yeah, kind of. You want me to drive you home when the doc's finished here?
Let's go back to the office and talk to Tyler first.
Okay. Is that all right, Doc?
No. You're staying right here, Romero, till tomorrow morning. If you haven't got a temperature by then, I might release you.
Oh, it's only a flesh wound, Doc. I feel all right.
I'm not taking any chances with gunshot wounds. If infection set in and you were laid up, I'd have the pension committee to answer to. You're staying here.
Sounds like an order.
It is. You can pick them up in the P&F Ford tomorrow morning.
Okay. You going to need anything, Ben?
Yeah. I phoned to tell my wife I won't be home for dinner.
His name was Max Tyler, white, male American, age 32. Dark hair, brown eyes, medium build, married, father of twin boys. He was a friend of mine. We served together in the Army overseas, and when the war finished, I came back to my job on the force, and Max went back to his old job. It didn't fit him anymore. He stopped working and started drinking. His wife didn't help much. Max started with small trouble, but it grew fast. On the afternoon of February the 8th, Tuesday, Ben and I surprised two men holding up a Main Street jewelry shop. Shots were exchanged, and Ben received a flesh wound in the shoulder. One of the hold-up men escaped. The other one was apprehended. His name was Max Tyler. Hi, Larry.
Hi, Joe. Glad you got here. Tyler says he won't talk to anybody but you.
Okay, boy. Thanks for standing by.
Sure. I'll be outside if you need anything.
Max?
Joe?
You're in deep this time. You shot a cop.
I didn't. This guy was with me. I didn't fire once.
You were in on the job.
Yeah.
Men don't expect presents.
I don't expect anything, Joe. Glad you came back. I don't want to talk to those other cops.
I work in the same department they do. Same job.
Well, it's easier to talk to you.
What's your story?
I was crazy to try it. No alibis, Joe, but I didn't know what I was doing. Believe me, I just didn't realize.
I won't buy it, Max. You told me the same thing 14 months ago when they picked you up for those bum checks you were passing.
Sure, I hung some paper, but I'm no hood, Joe. You know that. I was drinking. I needed dough for Dorothy and the kids. You got to believe me. I need a break.
You said that before, too. I went to bat for you. Got off with 6 months and 3 years probation. Now you turn up with another caper.
I know, Joe. I know. I'm sorry.
You're sorry once, Max, and it works, but one free ride's enough for anybody. Now, that's it.
Did I say I wanted that kind of a break? I'll serve my time, Joe. I'll serve every day I owe.
And then what can you tell me you couldn't have told the other cops?
I want to ask you a favor.
Yeah?
I know you're going to hook me on this. So while I'm doing my time, Dorothy and the kids are staying with relatives out in Inglewood. If you'll... Well, just keep an eye on them, you know, Joe. I don't mean dough. Dorothy can work with... Kind of watch out for them, huh? Give them a break, Joe. It's not their fault. Will you do it, Joe?
Yeah. Sure, I'll take care of it. Now, you do something for me.
Anything you want, guy.
Let's have the straight story. Who was the guy with you on that hold-up this afternoon?
Cresta, George Cresta. You know him.
Out of Folsom? Short guy, black hair?
Yeah. He's got a room above the Red Owl Bar down on East 3rd near Broadway. That's where he hangs out.
Where can we find Cresta now?
Oh, maybe there. I don't know. I'll give you a list of the places he goes. Some of his friends I've met. He sure roped me in. Said there was going to be an arrest.
You were carrying an S&W 38.
Sure. When they got outside the jewelry shop, Cresta jammed the gun in my hand. I had to put it away, get it out of sight. Believe me, Joe, he roped me into this. It sounds like an alibi, I know.
This is your second time around, Max. It sounds like one.
Okay, I got nothing coming. Don't forget about Dorothy and the kids.
I promised you. Now, you want to give me a full statement on the holdup now?
Anything you say, Joe.
I'll call for a stenographer.
Joe.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I am.
I believe you. You got the feeling too late, that's all. Max Tyler was arraigned in municipal court 2 days later. Bail was set at $10,000. 3 days after that came his preliminary hearing in municipal court. At his arraignment in Superior Court, 5 weeks after he'd been apprehended, Tyler entered a plea of not guilty. A date was set for his trial in Superior Court. Meantime, the hunt for George Cresta, Max's accomplice, went on. There wasn't a sign of him. Our informants had no lead on him, and the all-points bulletin containing all the information we had on Cresta brought in nothing. On Monday, March 22nd, the trial of Max Tyler was held in Superior Court. Ben and I were subpoenaed to appear. The victim of the holdup, the jewelry store manager, was the first to testify. He was questioned by both the prosecutor and the counsel for the defense. He left the stand at 11:25 a.m.
If it please, Your Honor.
Counsel for the defense.
Before the next witness testifies, I'd like permission to approach the bench.
Permission granted. Counsel for the the prosecution may also vote.
Wonder what that's all about, Joe.
Something's up.
Hey, look. Judge is shaking his head. Public defender's going back to the counsel's table.
Counsel to the defense.
Your Honor, it is my client's desire to change his plea to guilty.
Defendant rise and face the court. Max Tyler, is that your true name?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the 12th day of March of this year, in Superior Court, Department 83, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California, you've heretofore been arraigned on the charge of robbery in the first degree. At that time, you pled not guilty to the charge in question. Is it now your desire to change that plea?
Yes, sir, it is.
You've reached this decision of your own free will?
Yes, I have.
There's been no force employed, no promise of gratuity or reward to induce you to reach this decision?
No, sir.
Counsel for the prosecution.
Yes, Your Honor. Max Tyler, on the 12th day of March of this year in Superior Court, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California, you are arraigned on the charge of robbery in the first degree. That time you entered a plea as set forth in this information. How do you now plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Is it stipulated that at the time of the commission of the robbery, the defendant was armed with a deadly weapon, to wit, a revolver?
So stipulated.
Court to fix the degree of robbery as robbery in the first degree.
Your Honor, in the interest of justice, the people move to dismiss count 2, assault with a deadly weapon. At this time, Your Honor, the defendant waives time for sentencing and asks that he be sentenced immediately.
Just a moment. Max Tyler, it's the judgment of this court that on the 8th day of February of this year, you did enter the premises at 23108 East Main Street in the city, and there did attempt the felonious taking of personal property in the possession of another from his person and immediate presence and against his will. Further, said attempt was made while you were armed with a dangerous and deadly weapon. Tyler, this court finds you guilty of robbery in the first degree. Count 2 is dismissed.
Does it, Joe?
Decision of this court that you be returned to the county jail. Sheriff will transfer you to the state penitentiary where you will serve the sentence as prescribed by law. Court recess for 15 minutes.
Hey, Joe. Miss Tyler over there, she's taking it pretty hard.
Yeah, come on, we better go see her. Hello, Dorothy.
I love him, Joe. What am I going to do without him? Children.
I'll give it you straight, Dorothy. You didn't do much to keep Max out of this. You drank right along with him. You don't
Joe,
deserve those kids. That's my opinion.
Please, I know it. Don't make it any harder. Don't.
I'll do anything I can for the kids, Dorothy. That's all.
What am I going to do without him? I can't be all alone without Max. It's not right. It's not right.
Neither's armed robbery. Goodbye, Dorothy. Before the end of March, Max Tyler was delivered to San Quentin State Penitentiary, where he started serving his term. His wife, Dorothy Tyler, got a job as a telephone operator. She and her children continued living with her relatives down in Inglewood. I helped them out whenever I could. 6 months went by. Every 2 weeks, faithfully, Tyler wrote me a letter from prison. I answered most of them. While Ben and I worked on other jobs, the search for George Cresta went on. We failed to uncover a single lead. 10 months passed. Tuesday, January 16th, 1949, 4 p.m. I checked in for work as usual.
Hi, Joe. Cold out, huh?
Yeah. Did you pick up the mail?
Mm-hmm. There's a letter in your box from San Quentin.
Tyler, huh?
How's he doing anyway?
Good. Clean record. Got himself a pretty fair job in the prison library.
Yeah.
I talked to the warden up there. Says Tyler ought to be eligible for parole in about a year if he keeps his nose clean.
You going to bat for Tyler again?
I don't know. See what happens.
How can you see anything in that guy? He's giving you nothing but trouble.
Oh, a lot of people are giving him the same. Maybe that explains it.
Not for me, it doesn't. I wouldn't trust him with dirty laundry.
I get it. Robbery Friday.
Joe, this is Dorothy Tyler. I got to talk to you.
Yeah, Dorothy, what's the matter?
I found Cresta. I saw him.
What?
George Cresta. I know where he is. I saw him downtown. I followed him to his place.
You sure it was him?
I'm positive. He's staying at 134 Jesse Street. It's a rooming house just off Alameda. 134 Jesse.
Got it. Thanks, Dorothy. Come on, Ben. 8 minutes later, Ben and I were interviewing the landlord at 134 Jesse Street, a cheap rooming house down on the south end of the city. The landlord's name was Peterson. We showed him Cresta's mug shot, and he told us he was in room 11. We went up a dark, narrow stairway to the second floor.
And here we are.
right, stand clear. I'll try the door.
Mm-hmm.
It's open.
Yeah. Joe, have a look. He's asleep.
He's passed out. Come on, slip the cuffs on him.
That was easy.
Yeah. All right, I got his gun.
He's been drinking, all right. He'll have a big hangover.
He'll have a long time to get over it. George Cresta was booked at county jail on suspicion of robbery. 2 months and 3 weeks later in Superior Court, he was tried and convicted of assault with a deadly weapon and first-degree robbery and sentenced to the state penitentiary. The day after Cresta was sentenced, I was called to the office of Chief of Detectives Thad Brown.
Friday, this Max Tyler is coming up for parole in a couple of months. He's a friend of yours, isn't he?
That's right, in a way.
You've been writing letters to the warden. You've talked to the parole board about him. Understand you're helping on his kids.
A few presents. They haven't had much of a break. They're just youngsters.
You're working hard to get Tyler's parole. Do you think he's worth it?
Well, I was off both him and his wife, and then she gave us that tip about Cresta, and Tyler's got such a good record up at Q, I figured they'd earned another chance.
You're sticking your chin out, Joe, helping a con to get a parole. I think you realize that.
Well, I believe he's a good risk now, Chief. He's pretty weak in some things. He needs direction, that's all. His wife's getting better. She might help more than she did.
I hope both of them are worth it.
If anything happens, I know I'm going to get it from all sides.
You really think some men deserve another chance, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
I wouldn't want you working for me if you didn't.
2 more weeks went by. Tuesday, April the 19th. Ben came down with a bad cold and had to lay off work. At the same time, a new gang started a hold-up campaign among the liquor stores out in the Wilshire district. A new rash of armed robberies broke out in the central area. There was an attempted bank robbery. It was a bad week. Ben got back to work on Saturday.
Rough time, huh, Joe?
Busy, yeah. Did you beat that cold all right?
Sure, I feel much better. Doctor gave me some new medicine. Works good.
Oh, that's fine. Maybe I'll knock off early tonight if nothing's doing.
That's a good idea. Shouldn't be too much tonight.
Teletype for you. Just came in.
Oh, thanks, Larry.
Sure.
What's the matter, Joe? What is it?
Max Tyler. He broke out of prison this morning.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. And now, here's an authentic report from Fatima Cigarettes.
In 1949, Fatima doubled, tripled, and quadrupled its smokers.
In 1950, enjoy Fatima yourself.
You'll find Fatima extra mild.
Because Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobacco superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild.
You'll find Fatima tastes much better.
Fatima's superb blend gives you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
You'll find Fatima tops in cigarette quality.
Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality. For a new year of great smoking enjoyment, buy Fatima in the appealing golden yellow package. You'll agree, Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
In the course of his career, the police officer is afforded two diverse views of the criminal. At first, the rookie cop is taught to distrust the criminal at every turn, without exception. He's schooled in the 1,001 ways in which the criminal operates, his psychology, his mode of operation. Then, when he's thoroughly acquainted with the methods of the criminal and how best to detect them, the police officer starts to learn the most difficult lesson of all: how to distinguish between the confirmed criminal and the lawbreaker, in whom there is hope of rehabilitation. After 9.5 years of police work, my first experiment in this field was with Max Tyler. I'd given him 2 chances to prove himself, and he'd lost on both of them. So did I. 2 months before his parole hearing, which might have given him his freedom, Max Tyler had suddenly decided to escape. How he figured it, I didn't know, but it was my job to find him. At 5 o'clock that afternoon, Ben and I met in the Chief of Detectives' office. 2 officers, Holland and Grayson, from the State Adult Authority, escape detail, were there.
How did Tyler manage his escape, Grayson?
Well, same old story. They figured they could trust him up there. He had a good job on the prison farm. They trusted him.
When did they find out he was gone?
On the early morning count. Have you checked his relatives out in Inglewood yet?
Yeah, we have. We've got the home staked out. We're covering all the places we figure he might go.
How about Mrs. Tyler? You get in touch with her Friday?
The relatives told us that she's on a weekend vacation with the 2 kids, staying with friends down at Laguna Beach.
We got a call in to them. Should be hearing from them soon.
I understand Tyler's a friend of yours, Friday. He was ready for parole.
Yeah. I was trying to help it along. I thought the guy deserved a break.
He didn't need you, Joe. He made his own. Well, he was feeling bad. You weren't the only one fooled Friday. You had the prison officials buffaloed, too.
Yeah, I know. I helped convince them. You got any leads on Tyler at all, Grayson? I mean, from the time he broke prison?
Pretty strange. They traced him as far as Stockton, and then they lost the trail completely.
The Stockton police in on the search?
Yeah, sure funny. The guy has no money, no car we know of, no change of clothes.
You figure he's getting help from somebody?
Could be.
Excuse me a minute. Brown speaking. Just a moment. You, Friday.
Oh, thank you. Friday? Yeah. When? Where? Just a minute. Will you hold on, please? It's the Tyler's friends down at Laguna Beach.
Mrs. Tyler there?
No, she called him last night about 7 o'clock. Told him she'd changed her plans. She wasn't coming.
She told them where she was going?
She wanted to know which highway would take her to Stockton. We told the Tyler's friends in Laguna Beach to contact us immediately if they heard from either Mr. or Mrs. Tyler. We got out an APB on Dorothy Tyler, and then we drove out to interview her relatives in Inglewood. They told us that Mrs. Tyler had the 2 children with her. She had left their house at 6 p.m. the night before by taxi. As far as they knew, she didn't own a car. We talked with some of her friends in the neighborhood. The only thing they could tell us was that she had not borrowed a car from any of them. We drove down to the telephone exchange where she was employed as an operator, and we spoke with a manager, a Mr. Ralph Cartwright.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. This is Mrs. Tyler's night off. Is there something I can help you with?
When is Miss Tyler due back at work, Mr. Cartwright?
Well, she's working the 10 to 7 starting tomorrow, due in at 10 a.m.
Uh-huh. We understand that she's on a weekend vacation, huh?
Yes, you see, today was payday, so she asked me if she could have her check ahead of time. Said she had to have the money for the weekend.
Did you give her the check?
Oh, my, no. I couldn't give her the check ahead of time. But I did do her a favor, just to help her over the weekend.
What was that?
I loaned her my car.
We got a complete description of the car together with a license number and called the office. The information was broadcast to all units throughout the city and teletyped to all points in the state. Chief of Detectives Thad Brown ordered an immediate stakeout on the telephone exchange where Mrs. Tyler was employed. The stakeout at the home of Inglewood continued. Another day passed. We checked with the bank where Mrs. Tyler maintained her account. It was 10:25 a.m. when we got back to robbery detail.
Gentlemen, what'd you find out?
Miss Tyler closed her account 3 days ago, withdrew all her savings, $46.55.
They're not going to go far on that.
Any word about that car she borrowed?
Teletype came in about an hour ago. They found it just outside Santa Barbara, abandoned.
Anyone see the Tylers?
No reports.
I wonder how those poor kids are making out.
Yeah. He must be crazy, and his wife, too. If she was going to help him pull an escape, why'd she have to drag the kids along?
It's the way some parents figure, Friday. They owe their children nothing. The children owe them everything.
Call for you, Friday. Date on 2.
Oh, thanks, Larry. Friday.
This is Hopkins, Friday, on stakeout at the phone exchange.
Yeah, Bert.
Tyler woman came for a check. We got her.
Dorothy Tyler was brought into the city hall. With her was one of her children. He was delivered to the juvenile authorities for the time being. Mrs. Tyler was brought to the interrogation room. She refused to admit anything to the officers from the adult authority. She said she wanted to talk to me. I went in. She threw her arms around me and started crying.
Joe, you won't let him get Max, will you? You won't let him.
I'm after him as much as they are, maybe more. Where is he?
I can't tell you.
Why'd you do it, Dorothy? Why?
Oh, you know why, Joe. You know why. I had to see him. I had to be with Max.
It's a bum deal. You traded days for years.
They can't get him. If I don't tell them where he is, they won't find him.
They'll find him. He's got to eat, so do you and the kids. He has to go to work, and working with a gun is all he knows. He'll leave a trail. We'll find him.
Children. What have they done to the children? Where's Jimmy?
They're taking care of him. That's more than you did. Where's your other boy, Vance?
With Max. Max has him.
Oh, that's fine. You and Max ought to be real proud of yourselves.
I had to see him. You know that. I had to see Max.
Has he got a gun? Has he? Has he used it?
No. He just thought he might need it. He hasn't hurt anyone. I swear it.
You helped him escape, is that right? You helped him.
He needed help. I met him at San Rafael. We drove all night. He didn't hurt anyone, Joe. He hasn't hurt anyone.
Where is he now? Where is he? All right, Dorothy, we'll find him.
Joe, if I tell you, will you go alone? I can show you the way. Will you go alone?
Yeah.
All right. I'll take you to him, Joe. I trust you.
Yeah, I trusted him once, too. 5 p.m., Monday, April 25th. Dorothy, Tyler, Ben, and I got in the car and headed north for the coast town of Santa Maria. Acting under orders of Chief of Detectives Thad Brown, Larry Thompson from Robbery Detail followed in another car. Holland and Grayson from the State Adult Authority were with him. It was 10 minutes past 8 when we drove through the town of Santa Maria. Just outside the city, Dorothy Tyler directed us to turn off onto a dirt road. We drove about 2 miles. She told us to pull up.
Across that field. Shack by those trees.
Lonely out here.
I'll go with you, Joe. Maybe Max won't understand.
All right, you stay here.
Joe, that car stopped here.
It's cops, Dorothy. It had to be. They won't shoot unless Max does.
But you promised. You said you'd go alone.
I'll go alone.
Friday?
Hello, Grayson.
Where is he? She tell you?
That shack over there across the field by that clump of trees.
He's got one of the kids with him, that right?
Yeah, he won't be any trouble.
He's armed. The cons up at Quentin say he won't be taken alive. They say he'll shoot it out.
They talk a lot.
You better let us take him. You're not getting paid for this one.
I'll take him alone. I made a promise.
That guy in the shack's in the habit of breaking promises.
I keep mine. Keep an eye on Miss Tyler, will you, Ben?
Thompson's watching her. I'm coming with you.
I told her I'd go alone.
There's 2 doors, front and back. Which one you going in?
Front.
I'll be around back. Careful, Jim.
Yeah. I'll be right back, Grayson. I started to cross the field. The shack was about 100 yards from the road. The field was uncultivated, and I wasn't sure of my footing. I stumbled over a tree stump. Halfway across the field, the lights in the shack went out.
Who's that? Who is it?
It's me, Max. Joe Friday. Max? Come on, open up. All right, Max.
Why the gun, Joe? I never thought you'd take me with a gun.
I never thought I'd have to kick down a door to get you. You've changed a lot, Max.
How'd you find me, Dorothy tell you? Where is she?
Outside. Your boy over there, Vance.
He's sleeping. He's okay.
Put out your hands. Put out your hands.
Oh. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah.
You've been good to us. I won't try to explain.
Neither will I, Max. Come on.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, City and County of Marin, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here are the actual figures. New York Division.
Fatima sales up 132%.
Los Angeles Division.
Fatima sales up 545%.
St. Louis Division.
Fatima sales up 548%.
Yes, in 1949, more and more smokers discovered that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
They found Fatima extra mild.
They found Fatima has a much different, much better flavor.
They found the name Fatima means the best in cigarette quality.
In 1950, enjoy Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
Max Tyler pleaded guilty to the charge of escape and was sentenced to the term as prescribed by law. He was returned to San Quentin and then transferred to Folsom Penitentiary, where he is now serving his sentence. You have just heard Dragnet, a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Acting Chief of Police, W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet honors the state of California and the men of the California Highway Patrol, another of America's outstanding law enforcement agencies. One of these men, Highway Patrol Commissioner Clifford E. Peterson, outstanding administrator and educator in the field of law enforcement, dedicates his life to making yours more secure.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Be sure to hear Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman in the halls of Ivy starting tomorrow on NBC.